combatants. So right now, you're being aggressive, right? So you're violating my Third Amendment right because I'm quartering with an enemy combatant.
Give us a question. Can you stay catered? You are fake news. Sir, can you...
2 cents. Hello to my blue friends. Get another spinning and they call it revolution. Loose lips. Fatter than a new tits. Glass make her think it's ruthless. Deuces. 2 cents.
Oh, I guess it's all up to me now. Hey guys, thank you to Kenny Klein for allowing me this channel to present a certain subject. With me today, I actually have a friend of mine who actually volunteers with the National Capital Crime Assistance Network.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they basically try to get wrongly convicted capital offense people, which is like murder or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, out of prison. And these people are, if I understand, it's before DNA and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Mhm.
So Jules,
Yes.
could you please tell us about your organization?
So yeah, we I don't know, I kind of use this as a starting point if anybody is familiar with the Innocence Project. It is similar to that in that we take cases from people from across the country. It doesn't matter where you're at. And if they have, compelling enough cases we think that we can, do some good work with, we will take them. And then because we work with attorneys who are doing this either pro bono or for a reduced fee, we do all of the legwork. We reinvestigate, research, because these are mostly cases that are 20 to 30 years old. Like I have one that's almost 35 years old that he's been in prison now. So it's a lot of work, and we get it to the point where it's ready to go to court. And then the attorneys take over and they will, begin that process for us. And a lot of times that's the part that you really have to be patient with. Because it does. It can be, we have one right now in Georgia that they've had for 2 years. And we're just sort of getting some work done on it. But they have, down south is really where a lot of these clients are. It's not so much up here, like in the Northeast, but there's
and that's not a racist statement. Okay,
no, I'm just telling you where they are.
It's fact. It's fact.
Yeah, and it's difficult because and I'm kind of going to assume, like, we all know what Freedom of Information Act is, correct? Like anybody who's listening might be familiar with that.
Well, except for Josh Abrams.
Well, that it does seem like, or it's set up in a way that it looks like you request information, it's your right to access that, and then they send it to you. And that is not how it goes. It takes a long time for that to even occur. So a lot of that beginning to investigate a case is trying to drag this information out of places or just even locate it to begin with. And that can be a very a difficult process, especially when your cases involve people like actually a couple of mine who the prosecutor is now a judge, so they're not going to be very anxious to, give you what you want and help you out. Not that they work against you or refuse to work with you, but it just takes a lot more time.
Now, how many times have you actually, because obviously you're representing people who've already been convicted of, capital offense. Okay. And I know for a fact that you actually went to Atlanta one time.
Yes.
One of your.
It's not. I went to Atlanta, but it's Southern Georgia. From there, which was several hours, but that was, I guess one thing that you really see once you begin working with the families of the inmates is that up here
you actually have access to not only the prisoners but the families as well.
Oh, of course, because they're the ones who are the ones usually who are writing into us and trying to get in touch with us to see if we'll take their case. It's a lot of the times because it's hard for prisoners to, get enough time to call. Once you're established as their legal team, then it's easier. Just establishing all those things in the beginning is usually their families.
How does obviously the families and friends, they believe in whoever is in prison, that they didn't do what they do. And, obviously most of the people you deal with, it's like beyond like DNA and all that stuff.
Right. So what happens is like,
the families, what are the families like? Because I can see where something like that could, divide a family, but are these people all together on this?
Sometimes, for the most part. And when we do our investigations, we do not show up in their town because often they're still living in the same town. The families are. So we will reinvestigate, but we do not make contact with the victim's family.
The victim's family. I was talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you mean. But I'm saying like that can be tricky sometimes because, like in this instance, the victim's family was also our client's family. So it's a little tricky when that happens, and it's hard because one of the reasons for wrongful convictions, there's several, but one of the bigger ones is misidentification. And like in my Georgia case, we had like issues with the investigation and the people investigating it. It was in 1988 in like Southern Georgia, and this is not a place here when we see up, in our region, when we see people who are, living in like impoverished situations, that is really here nothing like it is down there. It's a little shocking when you first get into it, and but you really see like this is a much deeper problem than they even, they can talk about it on TV and you can watch shows, but it's just a very, very just deep systemic. And these people, they're convicted 25, 35 years ago, and no one goes back to check anything, especially like in Alabama. They're very difficult to work with, and they don't freely give up information. I think I told you about, my trip there and how that was kind of a nightmare. So, I mean, you just have to be persistent with it.
And that's really what it's all about. Just being persistent. And if you don't mind me asking, your organization, and just to give you another plug, what's the name of your organization?
It's the National Capital Crime Assistance Network. So we only do cases typically that involve a deceased person. We don't do things like rape cases or even just more recent cases. There's a lot of people who have been in jail for a long time who should have never been there by today's standards. If these trials took place today, and I mean, you see that it takes sometimes 2 years to bring people to trial to develop their case. These ones, we are talking about 3 months maybe, and they're gone for the rest of their life. So it's just a very different world when you have to like really dig into that. But it's all in the small details, and that, you just need to really dig through that because that's where it is,
Exactly. Now, how many people has your organization actually helped? If you don't mind.
So what happens is, I actually was gonna drop some of these names in here too. So on our webpage, under the achievements tab, there are the years and listings for people we helped. So one of them was someone named Desmond Ricks. He was imprisoned in Michigan and had been in prison for almost 30 years, I believe, before he was exonerated. And he had a case where the bullets that were taken from the victims did not match the gun that they claimed was his. And just sort of a little backup, like this, he lived in a really, rough area. And a lot of people at that time had.
Honestly, if you don't mind me interrupting, when you were talking about that case, I'm wondering, first thing I thought of, and I'm wondering if people in the chat are thinking of, was this guy, that you're talking about actually there when the crime occurred, and he just got convicted because he was there?
Right. So that's exactly what happened.
Oh.
And he was coming home from work. And when he came upon the scene, it was a shooting. It was a double shooting. And but he was coming home from work and he was riding his bike. He was 20-ish, 21, I think, at that time. And when the police stopped him and asked him why he was in the neighborhood, what was he doing there? He said, "I live here. This is where I live."
He actually had nothing to do with the people who actually committed this crime.
Correct.
It wasn't a case of him being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He just wasn't there, is what you're saying.
Right. He came upon it after the fact on his way home because he worked in a restaurant. So he gets out, I think it was around midnight, maybe something like that. And he was on his bike going home. And where this occurred was right near where he lived. And that was how he became involved with the entire situation. And
he was what, 20 years old, you said? 21 years old?
20, 21, yeah. And I mean, his girlfriend had just given birth. to his daughter. So I mean, it was. Yeah,
And how old is he now?
52, I think.
And he's
He
been
was released in
spending all
2018.
those years in prison, right?
Hmm. Correct. But here's the thing, though. The like I was saying with the gun, there was a gun at in his apartment. It was his mom's. She was single parent. It was his mom's gun. And like I said, it was very common at that time in that area for people to have something because to protect themselves, not to, you know what I mean? Not to run out. This was in her house, in like, I think it was in a dresser in her room or something like that. And the police found it. They took it. And
thank God my mother didn't have a gun. Jeez.
Yeah, we lived in a really rough area. So, but, but yeah, it was, so they took that gun, and it turns out that this gun in his trial was, they built their trial upon this. And instead of using the bullets that came out of the victims in court as evidence, they had gotten this is insane, but they got, you know, bullets that match the gun, and that's what they put into evidence. So
even though the bullets didn't match the ones in the victim.
Correct. So that
can I ask you a really serious question? And for anybody on the panel or I'm sorry, in chat, you know, I'm not trying to be racist, but was the guy you're talking about black?
Yes, all of my clients are.
No,
well, it's the, you know what it is though, like, because it was just the level of like corruption in this case was disgusting. But he got in touch with us, with our organization, and we had a ballistics expert look through his case and went to see the actual evidence. And that's where he found the bullets from the victims stored. That's how we came to find out they didn't match the gun, and their entire case was built on this gun they found in his mother's apartment. So he was released.
Is this guy still in jail?
No, he was released 2 years ago in 2018.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it not really though. Well, yes, of course, but people who are the compensation laws in the United States are, it's very frustrating. So
it doesn't vary state to state. It's like one governmental thing. Like if a convict is released,
some states don't have anything at all, and that's what a bigger problem is, because what we're finding is Georgia, for instance, like if you have a state that doesn't have compensation laws and you are a exoneree, you have to fight 10 times as hard to get that person heard, because if he's released, that means no compensation laws. He can go to court and sue the state for however much, instead of the state being able to say, okay, here's your $1.5 million for taking and stealing your life. You know, have a nice day. But when you have cases where, like this one in Detroit, he got out of jail. I mean, the thing is too, is when you get out of prison, when you're proven innocent, they do not like cut you a check and drop you off at the bus stop. You know what I mean? He still doesn't have that money. And it's 2 years now. So a lot of the times what will happen is the attorneys who are working on your behalf to get that money for you from the state, they will give them money to establish themselves and like buy a house, whatever. And he's also has filed a lawsuit against the state of Michigan as well.
But I mean, that's going to take years.
Yes, but it's very important for people to do that because this was police corruption, and he might not see that money for however long, but he did not do this. And Michigan is kind of a terrible place for wrongful convictions. They have an excellent convictions integrity unit that works with law students at the University of Michigan, and they do a lot of great work there. And they are working with him. It can sometimes be very sad, actually, because I mean, his children are now adults and he has grandchildren, and he just is dropping back into their life. This is a world that, and this is kind of, it's just kind of funny to see.
It's a world he doesn't know.
Right. And he's like, actually, when he first got out, he had texted me. He's like, am I texting you? Do you see my messages on this phone? Like, he had no idea what was going on here. And there's a lot of those little things that they just are like, wow, this is really incredible. But,
and actually, I saw a little bit earlier, a guy on panel, Josiah, what I mean, does this happen to white people too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it does, but the problem, I guess one of the bigger issues with that, and I mean, and it's not just men either, it's women as well. There have been women
Really?
Exonerated. Actually, not too long ago, there was another woman who was exonerated as well. But you're more often going to see people who, like, just white people who have the means to hire an attorney or have access that the clients who come to us, that they don't.
So it's the whole running gag, the poor people can't afford a good attorney, so they get a public defender who, on TV and movies and everything, they don't give a shit. I know they do, though.
Yeah, there are some really, really
not
great
ones. On public defenders.
Right, there's some great ones, for sure.
To me, because I've actually been on juries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a public defender, believe it or not, that's almost a strike against you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it gets pretty hairy. Like my case up here in Boston, my client initially, this is, I think, 27 years, going on 27 years now. His original attorney is actually, he's a very good defense attorney. And his family has gone through just great lengths to make sure he's had great attorneys. Like they're, remortgaging their house and all this stuff. So, but in that trial, he fell asleep during the trial. And his appeal, when he appealed this, that in and of itself wasn't enough for them to grant him another trial. To grant him his trial, it's absurd that that's even something that he was not awake and he was not objecting in places that he should have been. And what do you do with that?
Yeah.
when you can't. So we're still working through that. He's actually, that attorney passed away last year, but and like in this
so you
case,
saw that message from Lavender.
is
She's
everyone working
asking,
with
is
this an
everyone
attorney?
working with this group?
So no. Well, yes and no. So I am not an attorney. And the woman who began this, the director, she actually was an artist and married to an attorney. And she kind of got involved that way, but then really grew this and has a lot of great contacts that she brought together. And there are people across the country that we work with doing these pieces of it. And then the attorneys we work with, and there are some that just regularly help us, and they're great. And they're either doing pro bono, or so they're either doing pro bono or we pay them, but it's not like, they knock it off. But they're doing that work for us. That's why when I was saying earlier, this process of bringing a case to an attorney and having everything laid out and everything done for them, because when they do it for a reduced fee, or they do it pro bono, you want to make sure you have every single last thing that they are going to need to walk into court with that. So it's very it's a lot of work, but it's rewarding. And there aren't enough attorneys to, and they're passionate about it, but how this
they only have so much time, right?
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, and they can't take everyone. So, and if we, as much as we can get done to get, to that point to them, that just helps our case move along a little bit quicker than it normally would.
Hey, Jules, can you do me a favor?
Mm-hmm.
Can you just say to Taco Josh in chat that you love him?
I love you, Taco Josh. Is this Taco Josh still beats No Name talking about her vagina? So I'm really, I guess, is this a compliment, or is this even about me or you, Tim? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh, DFK just brought up an interesting question. Are public defenders open to civil claims for dereliction of duty?
No, not really. The thing about that is you are not going to really find anyone punishing them unless it was some sort of like egregious situation that but for the most part, they're not going to do that, because that would leave them open to having all of the cases that they've ever worked on previously to be reopened and having to be re-examined. So that the court system does not want that. So it would have to be just, it would have to be something really big for that to occur. And even when things are big enough for that to occur, even when we do see things and we think, oh my God, this is crazy, this guy shouldn't have, and they still continue to practice because it's just not something they're going to do. In private, I'm sure they are hearing it from people, but they're not going to, take legal action or even, suspend them. It's not in their best interest. So, and when they do, like if there ever is, it's
right.
It's just too much of an expense, and they don't really, as it is, you can't, when you are working with a public defender, you really don't have the resources you need to prove your innocence. If that means needing to get any sort of forensic examiners into court speaking on your behalf. Like that doesn't happen. So as it is, they're already working at a deficit.
Now, to go back to your the guy you're representing in Georgia, okay, he's been in jail for what, 30 years?
Almost. I think this year is 30. This year will be 35, I think. Or no, next year will be 35, I think.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
and you've spoken to his family as well, right?
I'm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what concerns me most is, how is this guy after 30 years, in a prison? Okay. And obviously the family and you have seen him, but can you give any examples of how this guy actually has changed, in the sense that, like, shit, I'm 20 years old and I'm locked up in jail for God knows how long. I mean, that's gotta take a toll.
Yeah, but you know what? One surprising thing when you're working with people who are actually innocent is because, I mean, if it's you, right, you'd imagine yourself being enraged all the time, and just incredibly pissed off. And I don't know what it is, but that's not really the case. Yes, they're upset that there was this horrifying miscarriage of justice and their lives were stolen from them. But a lot of the times, by the time we begin to work with them, they are just happy that someone is listening, because that's, nobody is. You can tell anyone you want. Everybody in jail is innocent. You know what I mean? Like, they're all saying they're innocent, but when you really,
it's like Morgan Freeman said, don't you get it? We're all innocent.
Yeah, and it's, but you know what the thing is too is that most of it, and they know they're going to be, or they hope that someday someone's going to listen to them and they're going to be free, and they're going to, so they will also stay out of trouble while they're in prison. Like they don't want to give any other reason for being kept there. So, I mean, like my Georgia guy, he's never, he doesn't fight people. Like, he's a mentor in jail. He's a pastor. You know what I mean? So, like, he has a degree. He got his degree in jail. So, I mean, when he comes out, he is going to be in a place that he can, or that he's a little better equipped to, work, do whatever it is, in his life that he wants. He has a girlfriend. So, but he's very, I don't know. He's a really incredible person. And if anyone deserves to, walk free, it's him. And
but Jules, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Okay. If, somebody comes into my place looking for a job and they're filling out a job report, employment thing, when you see like a 30-year lapse in work history,
well, the thing is,
that's like a red flag, wrongly or not.
So what happens with that a lot of times too, though, is, so when you are paroled and, you get out of jail, there are services that you can take advantage of being a parolee. When you are exonerated, you get nothing. Like, I don't mean you get your compensation, whatever that is, and you go on with your life. But
just to clarify, an exoneration is different than a pardon.
Mhm.
An exoneration means you didn't do it.
Right. And you just have a 35-year work gap. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Exactly.
It's yeah. But that's where we come in as well, because we do have a network and we can help them find employment. A lot of times that occurs within this community, and they are doing like speaking engagements or just connecting in the community somehow, and really sharing their story, because that's what's important. That's what's, as much as you can talk about these issues, you should, so we can stop it from happening. And it's rough, but they do, like I said, my client in Georgia he has a bachelor's degree. He's a really intelligent man, and he will probably fare better than some people who have never been to prison. Not that, you know what I mean, but
Right.
Exactly. He's done all of the things that he, could in prison, and taken advantage of every opportunity he had. So I see this question. What do you think is fair compensation for having 34 years of your life stolen? I absolutely don't think a couple $1 million is fair. And it is, I guess, on top of that kind of not being fair, because when you say that number, I mean, that does sound like a lot of money, but it's not. I mean, it's not a lot of money at all. And you have lost that time. There's nothing you can do but come out and try to make the best of the time you have left. And a lot of people do not get wrapped up in that too much. Like, we have another guy who came out. I believe he finished his degree in jail. He started a business, and he works like within a network of people helping other prisoners who, like I was saying before, with access to records or getting information. It's very hard for prisoners to get their own information. So
why is that? Why is that?
I don't know. Alabama is one of these places. Like, not that I don't want to pick on it, but like, I have people who just don't. We met with this was probably, I don't know, a couple of years back, with the district attorney, and that meeting, and this is in Alabama, that meeting. So let me just preface this quickly. I'm sorry. The guy, this case was, it's technically a drive-by shooting. He was charged. But what it was is he got in a fight with someone who stopped their vehicle in front of his house. He came out. The people in the vehicle had guns. They had a previous issue, because my client had said to these drug dealers, "Leave my aunt alone. She is clean now, and don't come anywhere near this house." Like, he had like a full-time job. He had a child, and, he was not directly involved with them, other than the
he was just basically telling a bunch of drug dealers, "Leave my auntie alone."
Right.
And then the lights lit up.
And then what happened? No. So what happened was, he went out to the car in the street, got the guy in the car was like getting out of the car, and then however they were kind of tangled and whatever, the gun went off, and the driver was shot in the head and died. But the problem is that he was not fully out of the vehicle. He still had one leg in the vehicle, and that is what qualified it under this, because back then, like, this whole drive-by shooting thing, right? That was, a nightmare. So he was convicted under that law, which is now no longer. So,
But yeah, he is not exempt though. It's like
Right.
it's not retroactive. It's
Right.
like it's not like, oh shit, I'm sorry we put you
But
in
the
jail.
thing is that that's what we were
Wow.
going for. No, well, when the laws change, you can. That's the perfect time to do this. And we thought that this new DA, he maybe will listen to us because he's very involved in the community. And basically, the public information that is available to us in every state. In Alabama, let me tell you, they do not give a shit about anything. They would not, they would not give us that.
College football.
And
Yeah, baby.
what he was saying to us was, do you have a specific document you're looking for that I can see if we have? It was weird. And we were like, well, we want the whole file. This is like, said, I can't do that, but I have looked through it. So we're like, oh,
I mean,
do you have this?
You got to imagine that it happens in states, all 50 states.
But Alabama's a hellscape, so it's worse. So we were asking him what that file had in it, and it was basically this little game where he's like, I want to help you, but you need to tell me specifically what it is you want, and then I can go look and tell you yes or no if I have it. We were like, where's the file? He had the file in his office 2 doors down. We couldn't see any of it, and therefore can't help our client. So it's a mess. But I see your question, Taco Josh, in the
I was going to ask you about that, but I didn't want to interrupt. But
I see it.
Taco does bring up a good question.
No, so the thing about I think a lot of people have, I don't know, when you hear wrongful convictions, what's the first thing you think of, that the reason could possibly be? And a lot of people don't realize, like, it's usually, we have DNA testing now, so this shouldn't happen. And that if you're not guilty, then why are you refusing to speak to the police? Or, so things like that, people will point to and say, like, but you didn't do this, so you must be guilty, and we all see, these shows on TV and all of that. And what really it comes down to a lot of the times is eyewitness error, false confession, which is a crazy thing to comprehend, but it happens, especially with younger people who are told that they can go home if they just tell them, what I mean? Like, you've seen these things before, and it's awful, but there's also a lot of the times it's misconduct on the part of investigators, or not all the time, but it's very difficult when there's a conviction and the people who helped convict him are still in office. So we decide what cases to investigate based on what we have available to us for evidence. So this case in Georgia had a lot of blood evidence. So, and this whole case was just absurd to begin with, but because it involved a 12-year-old who was killed, he was like tried and put away for the rest of his life within like about a 3 or 4 month span. So what happens is they pack up all the evidence, they put it into storage, and assume that they will never hear from this person again. until somebody
You show up.
comes along. Yeah. So, so what happens is that,
And that's what it takes, you
right.
know. I mean, you know, if you're, you know, doing this
Mhm.
and you're helping people, I mean, jeez.
So what I was gonna, so the thing with this one too is like when I was saying earlier, it's about like the small details that you really have to be patient and take the time to really go through it. His case was the police did gather a lot of blood evidence, and at that time, it was before, because this was slightly before OJ was tried, and that's really when forensics was brought into a courtroom, and people were very unfamiliar with all of it still, and it just, there wasn't any kind of uniform language used for it, so it was a little dicey. But
Yeah.
even still, in those lab reports, they test for blood type, and then they test for enzymes in that blood type.
Right.
And so when I got that report, and I kind of charted out all of the evidence, what was tested, what the blood types were, and the enzymes that were present in that, there was the victim's blood, there was my client's blood in the place where exactly where it should have been, because he was in the course of trying to help her, he cut his finger. And they're only
okay, right, okay.
They're like very, very
I
few
remember
drops.
reading that, yeah.
Yeah, there was almost nothing. In fact, when they showed his shirt, the shirt he had on, and they held it up in the courtroom, there were 3 holes in the shirt that you could just poke your finger through. The circumference was, you know, very small. And those were the 3 dots. And this is crazy. But so their theory was that my client committed this, the girl, it was awful. She was stabbed 9 times. It was terrible. And that he must have done that, changed his clothes, hid them someplace so well that no police officer in a circumference of about 3 or so miles could find. They looked everywhere. He didn't have a vehicle, so he had a bike at the time. And the time frame that we're talking for this to occur, from start to finish, and the distance he had traveled that day, there was no way he could be there. But what happens is they went to the store he was at. Now, if he says he's going to a store to get something, what do? You go to that store and say, hey, did this guy come in? Do you have a receipt? Where's all that stuff? When it went to court, they said nothing about that. And that's because he did show up at this place. And that time frame didn't work with the time frame that they had to fit him into in order to be the person who committed this crime. So things
and the clerk at the store is like, I know nothing.
Right. Well, they don't.
Yeah.
They're just showing up at the scene.
I mean, who actually thinks about stuff like that?
I know, it's ridiculous, but
well, I mean, you know, it's not so much ridiculous as much as, like, you know, human nature. You know, it's like somebody comes in, you know, I used to work at a convenience store, and somebody comes in, gets their scratch tickets, leaves, gets their Slurpees, pays, leaves, you know.
And you know what?
You never know that one of these people, like a murderer.
Well, that's why, I mean, working at a gas station, who wants that, right? Like, that's what I always think, like, oh my gosh, they should have better video surveillance at places like that, because it's always grainy and you can't see anything and whatever. But I mean, but the thing is that no one, through the trial, and he was only 24 at the time. So during the trial, though, no one questions that. No one asked about the store or the person working in the store that they went back to talk to less than an hour after this happened. So what, there are little things like that throughout this case. But I think overall that the blood, once I had all of that, mapped out, clearly showed that there was a third donor. And at that time, they had to have known that. However, if you do not have a sample to match that unknown third source with, they will exclude it and not even tell defense about that.
Well, obviously, the evidence of a third donor would actually pretty much throw the original criminal trial into chaos. Am I right?
Yeah, and that's what we're looking forward to.
All right, guys.
And actually, Taco Josh.
Tim, hold on. Yeah, you guys. I just want to get this question. It's been up for like 15 minutes, so I just want to make sure you guys are going to get to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. So, how do you decide what cases to investigate and which don't? So, normally we will investigate cases that have some sort of blood evidence still. In this case, we also had a rape kit and hair. So, when we have those pieces that are still being preserved, it just makes it a whole lot easier. But we don't necessarily turn away cases if they do not have that, because, it's even when you do have all of the pieces of it that you need, there's more that goes into it, and you just have to be willing to do that work and really dig through it and find people and re-interview people. Like, I hunt people down everywhere, you know what I mean, to do this, and it takes a good amount of time.
Well, let me ask you though, Jules. How many of these cases has your organization been able to turn over?
Okay, so on our website, there is a the tab that says achievements. There's a list in there of people that we have helped. And
what is actually the website name, or can you just spell it out for anybody?
Yeah, well, I think was Kenny going to drop that in there someplace?
Come on, Kenny.
No, I mean, I can do it.
Which one is it? I can do it, but which one is it?
And it was the first one that I left, that I put in the chat.
Oh, the NCAN? Yeah, that's when we've been posting that like the whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I'm not really looking at the screen. Yeah. I apologize.
It's sporadically posting it.
Yeah. So yes, on that website you can go in there and see the cases we worked. The one I was just telling you about, Desmond Ricks, with the bullets from that case. He is currently still going through that and will be going through that for a while. But there has been we had someone who was exonerated just a couple months ago, and it's just it's an ongoing process, and it's really good work to get into this and help people. You just have to be very detail oriented.
Does your organization do they actually assist these people? Because obviously, when I mentioned, about the previous Atlanta case, Georgia case, about 35-year lapse in work history. I mean, does your organization work with organizations that can actually help them?
Yes. it's a network. So we have, like it just, it depends on, what they want to do. A lot of times they'll come out and they really need time to process this whole thing. I mean, it's very, very overwhelming. And that isn't, they're not alone in that. We continue to be a support for them. And like I said before too, a lot of times they will have like media requests and, just people really want to hear their stories. Because who can imagine having that kind of time stolen from them? It's terrible, so they do, there are things, it's difficult, but they're up for the challenge. I mean, they're out, and a lot of the times they just never expected it, and it sucks, but they're really good people. Just because they've been in jail for half their life, they've just got to reacclimate.
It kind of goes back to my original question. How many people has your organization actually helped?
So the reason why I directed you to the website is because there's many.
Good.
I mean, like there's, so it's, and actually we also have Charles Wakefield. He's on that page too. He has, I actually have it right here, but there's a podcast called Murder, Etc. And that podcast is all about his journey and just what he has had a rough go, but he's a really inspiring, human being, and it's worth your time to get to know his story. So I can see your question. How many hours you have?
I was just going to say, Jules. I mean,
make a decision.
CFA brings up a good question.
As to whether or not you'll work on a case. So, like I was saying, so some of the things we evaluate at that time will be, or before they get an answer. So we do an intake, and then I will go looking for a lot of the time it's the trial transcript. The chain of custody reports are really important to have. And then I look for anybody who may have worked on the case and is still in that department, or any witnesses, anybody that we can find from the original trial. A lot of times we can go lab reports can be a little tricky to find sometimes, because a lot of these cases have archives that are off-site in a completely different part of the state. So once we kind of gather enough information and see what we can do with that, that's when we make a decision. And if we think we have enough, we will ask one of our attorneys, or just say, this is what we have, right? Do you need more than that for us to work up a case and develop it to the point that we can hand it off? So we will go to them for guidance, and then put it all together. And that can take a couple months. And then once we decide to accept a case, typically that would be about 1.5 to 2 years that we have, that we have to put a lot of work into that, depending on, the severity of, like up here, this one in Boston, it's kind of a nightmare. So there's a lot more work that goes into that. But
I'm thinking about the guy in Georgia. I'm thinking about the guy in. Oh, I'm sorry, Kenny. Will you say something?
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna open up the panel here. You guys have been going for like an hour. You guys will keep talking, but I just want to be able to open up the panel because this waiting for questions isn't going so well. So I figured people come up here and ask questions. It's okay, but it's Tim's fault. Tim's running the panel. He's supposed to be paying attention to everything going on.
I
need to learn that. So we're gonna. So I just wanted to. There's a question. Right. There's a question here, real quick. This one. Awesome. Do you use private investigators?
That would be me. kind of. We do not actually, for this case here up in Boston, we did use a private investigator because some of the people involved with that are gang members, and they're kind of still involved with all of that. So
there's certain things that they can't touch.
Well, what happens is that, like, because I will do whatever and go wherever and talk to anybody, but in this case, for instance, they said no. I think we should have the private investigator, who is this like giant man, go find these people on the street. So of course that makes sense. But typically, we do all of that.
And just before we open up the panel, just real quick, for everyone that's just coming in, why don't you tell them just who you are and what you represent and all that good stuff, just for the new people.
Yeah, because most people are probably tuning in to hear Kenny babble and stuff.
Well, they're gonna get me babbling too. No, I apologize.
I kid, Kenny. I kid.
No, I know. No, so yeah, just real quick for the people that just introduce yourself again and what.
Go ahead.
The organization.
Oh,
and
you're
all
talking
that.
to me. Oh my
Yes,
God.
ma'am.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant the people who were coming in. Okay, so I work with an organization called the National Capital Crime Assistance Network, and I will always sort of, when people ask me what it is, ask them if they know or if they've heard of the Innocence Project, because it is very similar to that, in that we help people who are wrongfully convicted get their case reinvestigated, and work with them to make progress with it. I mean, all of these people were in jail for decades. So we work on that and research it and reinvestigate. We find all of the witnesses. I look for jury members who might still be alive. And like I said, like any police or anyone who was previously involved in that investigation. So,
Jules, I have to ask you, do you get any calls or texts or emails or whatever from family members of people that your organization has represented? Okay, and maybe they've passed on. Has there ever been an instance where, I guess what I'm asking is, the family says to you or the organization, "Thank you for the time that you gave us"?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but like I said before, we will work with the family members of the person who's in prison, and we don't speak at all to the victim's family. But like I was saying earlier, like, it can be tricky because sometimes the victim's family is also the person who's incarcerated family. So, but we are very careful not to do that, because we're not just talking about our client who has lost 35 years of his life. We have another family who has to sort of go through that again. And it's terrible. It's terrible, but it's also terrible that he's being, someone's wrongfully convicted, and the person who actually did this is still out there. And in places like Georgia, you have to sometimes just proving or having enough evidence to prove that it was not this person who's in jail. They also would like you to deliver the person who did it to them. So, so sometimes it takes a little extra work to kind of do that piece as well.
Yeah. And and you keep mentioning Georgia, and obviously that's a little bit of a sore spot for you. But do people actually I mean, do they go after you? Because basically,
Is this what are you asking me what we were talking about earlier? With
you're supposedly helping murderers get free, right?
Right.
So you must get a ton of shit for that.
No.
Right?
No. Well, no. I don't actually. And I think it's because we we approach this in a way that's very factual. We have evidence to back up what we are doing. And a lot of the time, what it does come down to is people now know how bad this is in our prison system. That there is a huge amount of people, like just in prison, shouldn't be there. So I think today it's easier for them to accept like that being a possibility that our system could have failed that badly versus, 20 years ago, no one would listen to you. No one's going to, so I think now just, in this climate and people really do listen. They do.
Yeah. And Jules, you mentioned earlier that you often get referred to people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's just, I have to ask, I mean, are some of these guys just like beyond hope as far as like they've given up? And how does that feel to you?
They're not. If you are in jail and you're innocent, they don't. They keep going, and that's one of sort of the hallmarks of someone who is wrongly convicted is they will continue to try to assert their rights and continuously they're always working on their case. It doesn't matter if they've been in jail for 5 years or 30. They are always working on it because they don't belong there. So there's a lot of times like I have seen where they're exercising their right in whatever kind of court appearances they bring or whatever it is. And I think sometimes law enforcement or the legal system gets tired of seeing their faces, and they sort of use that against them in a way, like they prejudice them. But that's not a good enough reason to think somebody deserves to be in jail just because they're, you don't like to see them in your courtroom. Like it's they're treated poorly.
Well, I mean, it's like back in the 80s, like you were talking about, you're a Georgia guy, back in the 80s. I mean, what was the big thing? Stealing hubcaps.
Well, and I think too, though, like the area he lived in was, there was a lot of like drug activity and poverty. So, I mean, before this occurred, their apartment had been broken into twice. And that was just very, that's just how it was down there. In that area at that time.
All right, guys. So we've got some other people up there. Tim, hold on. Tim, hold on. I'm muting you now because I'm going to have to right now because I'm going to talk here for a second. Okay. So we've got new people on panel. I just want to introduce everybody. Tim, remember what we talked about earlier? When people are up on panel, you've got to kind of let them talk a little bit. I know you're enjoying the conversation. It's a very good conversation, but it's very rude to have people on panel and not allow them to talk. So with that being said, Asian, welcome, sir.
Welcome, Kenny. Welcome, Tim. And very nice to meet you, Jules. And
you as well.
Hello to Carl and Jeff Parker as well.
Carl, welcome.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
Jeff, welcome. And we got someone else joining here.
Hey.
And Gary. What's going on, Gary?
Howdy. How y'all doing?
All right, so now,
Hi.
now, Jules, this is the time when I usually do my panels. If we have a guest, this is usually the time where we allow other people to ask questions.
Okay.
Tim, of course, is going to be here and he's going to lead it and all that. But I just figure I need to get this up here because otherwise Tim will talk your fucking ear off. We
Yeah.
both know this.
Right.
Really? Really? Okay. I mean, God. I
He
was
knows
about
too.
to introduce the panel. Ugh.
That's it. Yeah, after you saw me
You know,
come up here, after
Asian.
you saw me come up
Tell
here,
us what
that's
you
what you did.
feel.
So let's be real here. All right.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna drop back down
Kenny,
and go
shh.
for it.
Kenny, shh. 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 Shh.
My
shh.
goodness, no one likes being first.
Asian,
Yes, sir.
what's on your mind, buddy?
I just I came in a little late, so my apologies for that. I think I'm behind the 8 ball, but I'm slowly catching up, I think. And I was just listening in from down below, and I found it to be very, very interesting. As far as what Jules is talking about, I did a quick Google search, and it looks like they're a 501c non-for-profit organization.
Yeah.
I was just curious, Jules, if you don't mind. When was the inception of your organization? Have you been around for a while, or is it something
Let me
relatively
see.
new?
You know, I think
I couldn't find it on the website.
I was gonna say, yeah, like it's it's been a while.
No worries.
What happened was this was a prior to it. This let me see. On the website, there's under the About tab is another organization called Cure, and that used to be this whole organization sort of in that. And then from there, they separated because they needed to become two different nonprofits. So I want to say about 20 years, like since they began in a very small way, and then more recently in becoming a nonprofit. It was work that they were doing just kind of under different organization. And Claudia Whitman, who is amazing and has like been the driving force behind all of this. She's an artist. She had nothing to do with any of this, but she's very passionate and she's an amazing advocate, and she gets a lot done and is just a very unique person. Very she's a little kind of firecracker because she doesn't really let anybody tell her no, which is a great thing for someone. She's about like 5 feet tall, and she's a little bulldog, but she's great.
Yeah, and I guess my only top of mind question right now, Jules, if I may, because I don't want to dominate the panel. Obviously, there's other people. But out of the 20 years you guys have been doing this, and it sounds like it's really advocating across wrongful convictions. People who have been arrested and serving time or serious time because of wrongful convictions. So that's a very interesting perspective, and I could probably spend a few hours talking with you about this.
I know, right?
But let me ask you, in the 20 years that you guys have been doing this collectively, how many cases would you say you've been able to overturn?
So, first of all, I got involved with them in 2015, 2016. So this is, I'm still sort of, this is not new, but this is me, coming into this and just being, before this, I had been doing a lot of like advocacy work in the juvenile court system. And I just thought this would be really rewarding and that I would be good at it. And I am, but I like it. And it suits me. But I think for the most part, when they began this, they were doing all kinds of like different advocacy work. Like that program that I was just referencing, Cure, that's actually now run by former inmates and their family. And they help people across the country, but in their own homes, from their own, they're not organized like NCAN
Right.
is.
Yeah.
But they have, a lot of times what will happen is we are able to get resources to people. I don't know if you were here and you heard about the Detroit case with the bullets being, different. And we will hire people to look into cases like that when, our clients can't afford to do that, and so those are the kind of things we do as well when they need that kind
Got
of.
it. Well, thank you for answering my questions and allowing me to
No,
come
thank
up.
you. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, so I can see your question. Didn't one of OJ's lawyers start this? It was, yes. So Barry Scheck, he is at the Cardozo School of Law in New York. He and I always forget the other guy's name.
Darden?
Hold on, I'm just gonna look quickly. Barry Scheck and Peter Neufeld. That's right, Neufeld. So yes, they founded the Innocence Project in 1992. And they did have, I believe both of them in some way were involved in the OJ case. And the other person who you might be kind of familiar with because of his offspring are the Kardashians. Their father was an attorney
Robert.
for
Yeah.
OJ.
Robert Kardashian, yeah.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the people who worked on that case who came through and, because there was a lot going on with that, they're involved in some way still in this project. And that's really what makes it so great is that began this, because once they realized they had this, DNA evidence could be used in court, it's a whole new world, with that.
And Jules, listening to you, I mean, you obviously have a passion for this. Okay.
Yes, I love it.
What was the first thing? What was the thing that, smacked you upside the head and said, hey, I got to get involved with these guys?
Insomnia. That's honestly how I found this organization. And I figured, you know what? I think I could be effective here. So, yeah.
Oh, that's it. I was expecting more.
Well, I mean, it's. I think for the most part, you have to be determined, and have that determination because it takes a long time. So you got to kind of stick in there and be good for the long run.
Roger Williams, great minds think alike.
Exactly. Roger Williams brings up a good case. And I've asked the question before, how many cases have you guys actually overturned? And I'm not saying in the time you've been there, okay, but the organization itself. How many times has that organization overturned cases?
So what will usually happen with a case is it will either, when it is reinvestigated, it will be, sometimes it's just a Brady violation that hadn't really come to light before, now, because of DNA evidence being what it is, or changes in laws. So part of the journey for some of these cases is, like I was just saying, like getting them services, finding their attorneys that will do work for us, for them, for reduced or free. So that's why when you were asking me, how many they've done so far, that's why I keep referring you back to the website, because it's a number that I don't even know at this point. We like the organization on a whole and everybody connected with it does a lot of work with so many different, because we also do, like, in different states, they have conviction integrity units. And when you are able to work with students in those cases, it really just changes how all of it works. They're really a great thing, and not every state has them, and they should, because there's a lot of people even just who don't. I don't think states like Vermont, I'm not sure if they even have one, or even I think New Hampshire now has one, but the smaller states don't really have them. So those people are the ones who fall through the cracks because no one's taking another look at their case. That's what they're for, the conviction integrity unit.
You know what would be really cool? If you
Mhm.
guys had like a death penalty case that you overturned.
We actually, I think what they have done with that previously is, and I have to look back at this, but I believe cases that have been death penalty cases, and actually, I think the Alabama case we have is now, and when the current administration began, there was a lot of worry that they were going to start making good on those death penalties and start, I mean, it sucks. It's terrible. Like there are people who deserve that, I guess, when they're guilty, but when they're not, there's nothing you can do once they're gone. So we were worried that a couple people in particular were going to, have that, meet their the punishment of their sentence, but that hasn't happened. So we're grateful for that. And there are, when you have someone working on your behalf, a lot of times they can make enough of a difference that you'll get that time, but it can be difficult because there's law enforcement, prosecutors. If the case that they prosecuted and, they have a death penalty, those cases are ones that really make these people's careers. So it's tough to get them to really look at that and say, maybe I made a mistake, or maybe we could have done something differently. And I mean, the FBI alone, I don't know if anyone saw this or is familiar with this, but they started reopening and reinvestigating some of their cases because of faulty expert witnesses or expert hair analysis, I was trying to think of it, sorry, would testify. They were trained by the FBI. All of the cases that they're opening and they worked on, I think 90% of them have flawed testimony based on training received by the FBI, like their program. And if they can go back and say, listen, we need to check this out again. We need to go through this. We need to make sure everything, gets looked at, because there are people in jail for the rest of their life that were convicted on hair analysis alone. There's a couple people, literally 2 strands of hair, and that's why they're in prison for the rest of their lives. So if the FBI can do that, I would think that, we would have other people following suit and say, you know what, maybe I should take a look at this again and not be so closed-minded. But when it's a case
hey, Joel, Roger asked another question. What was the first case you won? And
so
what did that feel like to you?
So when I began in 2015, 2016, the first person that I was like involved with was Desmond Ricks, the one in Detroit. And it was not long after that we had all met at in the summer at Claudia, my director's house in Maine. She would have like this annual thing, and he was there, and it was just that was my first time, like really, being involved in something that big.
So you actually weren't involved in that case, but you actually got to see what could happen as a result.
Well,
what
he
you're
was
saying.
also a member of our board too. So once, like I was saying before, when people are released from prison, and you were asking like what they do and whatever, they will kind of, come into the organization, and start, doing speaking, just to get out there and help them too, to hopefully find what they're passionate about. And I mean, some of them don't want to speak about it ever again. I mean, that's also, but, and we don't blame them for that. But
So I have a few questions I want to ask because I've been sitting here listening and it's really interesting. But before I did that, I just wanted to give everyone else a chance on panel to have something to say. Carl, did you have a question maybe?
Hey, Carl.
Carl? Guess Carl's right. Gary.
Thank you, Kenny. Tim, just want to commend you on I think you've done an excellent job, man. I was really surprised. I figured you get out here and start talking about how good Pabst Blue Ribbon is.
I'd like to second that. Good job, Gary.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, wait a minute. That wasn't my question. I mean, I know how good Pabst tastes, myself. Anyway, Jules, I don't think I've ever spoken to you before.
No,
but,
this is my first time, so I apologize if I'm a little.
Well, you're the lucky one. Anyway, I was wondering if during your investigations you go out and you find all the witnesses, all the jury members, the prosecutors, maybe even the judge himself, and you come to find out that this person really is guilty. How do they accept that when you tell them?
So I think one of the things that I don't know if you were on before when we were, I just touched on it a little bit, was when we first, start looking through applications and try to identify cases that we think we have a good chance at winning. The way we do like to have, DNA evidence or something that can be tested for DNA evidence, and but that's not the only criteria. But that's just the one that can be the most direct, route to freedom for some people. I have not. So I think when you first accept a case and do all of the work that you need to, and that will take typically like a couple months to do that, sometimes a little longer before you can really kind of look at it and get a feeling. But a lot of the time, I've never worked a case where I didn't feel that the person was, guilty. I don't know how to explain it, but I just, in a lot of it too, like you can have that gut feeling but when you speak to them yourself, there's also, I don't know, that it's, I don't know how to explain. There's people who are innocent in jail are different. They're not people you would typically think is a prisoner. If you just
it's like everything you learned about them has been thrown out the window.
All right, go ahead, Jules. Tim, I'm sorry I had to mute you. You cut her off right in the middle of talking, bro. Calm down.
But yeah, so I think we're just very careful in the beginning when we're looking, and that's why I was saying earlier too, it's really important to be very detail oriented, so that you can do your best job. And like I said, I've never really worked on a case where I wasn't sure. I thought they could be guilty. But if that does happen, I'll let you know. I mean, it doesn't, I just think when you're really careful in looking through that, that will help you. And there are people too that we've, who have done like polygraph tests. Obviously they're not admissible in court, but if they did them and they're available, that adds another layer for us. Even though the police, it's very difficult to find those because you really have to go digging for that. But you know, it's I don't know how I would feel about that. But I would not put any less work into it until I really knew. And I guess even if you go to the point where you know, that they have evidence that tests and proves they're guilty, then you know, then that victim's family really, you know, can be solid in what that outcome was and not have to ever wonder.
Hey, Jules.
I don't know if that answered your question, but
Right. Oh, excuse me, but all right. Thank you very much.
I just want to ask you a question now.
Mhm.
When you're dealing with a lot of the cases you have, because I'm sure you guys deal with all different kinds of counties, cities, and all that.
Mhm.
So, do you ever come to yourself finding out and you notice that the city or the county or the government agency is just absolutely corrupt? And how do you deal with situations like that?
So, because that is one of the features of people who are wrongfully convicted, that there's been some type of corruption, and sometimes it's not really even corruption. It could have been a mistake. But like I was saying earlier, when you kind of try and call them out and say, listen, do you think this could have been done differently? Or, you know, can you give me some guidance on maybe what you were thinking at the time? And no one likes that. And when you walk into a courthouse and the prosecutor who prosecuted your case their name is on the courthouse, they have a wing in there, it can be very difficult. And they don't want to really share that information with you. And I think once you, like our guy up here in Boston, he was convicted at a time where police corruption was at, you know, its height. And
Right. Yeah.
And so at that time, like for this case up here, one of the officers involved, a detective, was later fired and had been involved with drug activity, and there were a few other things that he did, but mainly he had been caught, I think, a couple times, and he was finally fired for it. But he was involved in this case. So that piece of it is difficult because you can't just simply have enough evidence to kind of like impeach a witness or a detective. You know, that's not good enough. You're not getting back into court on that alone. But there is...
And it doesn't matter if the accuser is like a drug addict or anything like that.
Well, you know what the problem is that because of this, because all of the people involved were gang members and drug dealers. And I always just try and remember, you know, because someone is selling drugs, they're a teenager, they're living in a very, you know, disadvantaged area. They're doing this as a form of like survival at times. So, but that doesn't mean they're a murderer. So we still look into it in the same way that we would anything else. However, when you have that added layer of police corruption, it becomes very difficult because they will not give that information.
Oh yeah, they'll block you. They'll block you.
I mean, it has been difficult to get, and it's a lot to deal with those kind of cases. And so, Jeff, this question I want to ask if there's any prosecution of lawyers or anyone for Melissa.
I'm just going to hang out and have a couple hot pockets or something like that.
Go do that, Tim.
You're okay.
But so I think like earlier I kind of had mentioned this, that attorneys can be sanctioned, and you can actually look that up. There is, you can go to the government website. It will redirect you, and you can see if an attorney has been sanctioned or suspended. All of that information is public information. But typically, what's going to happen is even if the attorney has done something, even just really again, my case up here, the attorney fell asleep during the trial, and that was not enough to get a new trial for my client. So you really have to, when it gets to that point, wonder like, okay, what is it then? What does that take? And it's rough because up here, when this occurred, we also had there were a couple other really big cases that occurred. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the prosecutor who was shot the day before he was going, the day before court with a gang member. That gang member shot him and killed him. And so this, my case occurred right in that same time frame within, I think it was 2 or 3 months. So, there's a lot going on with that. You're not going to find a lot of people willing to throw any attorney into the bus, because what that creates is a nightmare for the court system, because all of the cases that person previously worked on are going to come back, and they're going to want their cases re-examined, and it's just too expensive for them to do. If you, so it's, I think it's that, and you really have to screw up for any judge to tell you to, you're out, or like just to get you in front of one. It's terrible.
Honestly, Jules, in my case, if I was like facing like what you were facing as far as helping these guys, I would have given up a long time ago. That's why
I do it in your eyes.
That's why you deserve so much credit.
No, I really like it. So Roger's question though, are these
Roger has a lot of questions.
Required? Good. Are these officials required to meet with you and answer questions, or must you subpoena them? So what will happen is we do not, that piece of it is that's where who you are and your personality comes in, because there's kind of a lot of finessing. You can't, and I think if you're just being, honest with what you want and what you're asking for, and explain to them why that is, usually law enforcement, their main goal is for justice to be served. And if they are abiding that, they will help you and they will do the right thing. But like I said, there have been instances where that's not the case. And usually those are cases where their career has been made on it. So it can be a little tricky. Has anyone been prosecuted for falsifying evidence on cases that have been overturned? So falsifying evidence, that would be who we were talking about earlier, Desmond. That was a terrible nightmare. So yes, that's happening. But a lot of the times, because those police officers are retired, or if there's something coming down, like the whole thing with our Mass State Police that had been going on a couple of years back, if this person or whomever, law enforcement, whoever it is, if they have done something that they can, be disciplined for, or even terminated, and they start retiring way too early in their career, they do that so that they are protected from being sued. I'm sure, you could still sue them in civil court, or you could try, but they're not doing that. And so falsifying evidence, I guess, would be in Desmond Rick's case with the bullets. But a lot of times what that comes as is a Brady violation, where the prosecution will have evidence that they decide not to use, and they don't have to share it with the defense. If they're not going to use it in court, they don't have to share it with the defense. So that's why it's very important to hunt down evidence and really stick with it, because that's where you find the little things that are going to be helpful to you. One of my cases had there was a bloody shoe print, and the photographs that they took at the crime scene of showing that were not used in court, and nobody mentioned it. When I went back to look through the actual evidence they had in storage, those photographs were in there. So they had the photographs. The prosecution decided not to use them, so the defense never saw them.
Jeez.
That's the kind of, frankly, it's just bullshit that happens, but it's those kind of things. It's very important to really, really dig through and look for, because even at the moment, especially when we're first starting, anything you think might be nothing is never nothing. If it's a thing you can find, or document, anything, just no matter how small, you kind of hold on to it. I had one little square piece of paper that I found in the bottom of an evidence box that ended up being a really big deal. So things like that, you really just have to keep looking and keep sort of analyzing it from different, perspectives, and really try and place yourself in, in someone else.
You sound so optimistic, but obviously, there must be at least one case that you've dealt with that has just broken your heart.
Well, I feel that way because they have had their lives stolen from them. It obviously, the victim in this it's awful. It is awful what has happened, but I don't, that's not my piece to deal with, or I wouldn't be able to do the other pieces. So I sort of, even just because sometimes you can, you and I have talked about this, Tim, but looking at, the photos of the crime scene and the victim as they were found, it's horrible. It's horrible, but you can't, you have to put that away and then, do the work that you're there for. So you can be effective for your client.
Lavender just, Tim, hold on. Lavender just showed up, so I'm going to give her a chance to weigh in here.
Hi, Lavender.
Hi,
Lavender. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
I laugh.
I've missed you so much. Hi, Gary. Asian, how are you today?
How are you, love?
Sound pretty good.
By the way, Lavender, I'm doing okay too.
Well, Tim, you've been talking for almost 2 hours, so I assumed you were okay.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
And I had a question, but I have so forgotten it.
Oh.
Oh, no. It happens to
No,
the best of us.
I have
absolutely.
COVID brain.
Oh goodness, yeah.
I had a question though. Now since you've been working there, what would you say the percentage of the corruption that you found in the cities or the counties or whatever in the cases, not just the mistakes? I would assume it wouldn't be that high, but there's people that would have you believe that the government is almost entirely corrupt. Speaking for someone that works with different governments just around the country, how do you see it?
Can you just repeat that again for me, please?
So no problem.
No, because my earbuds are crappy. I
Okay.
didn't hear it. You were breaking up.
Okay. No, like, so you deal with different cities, states,
Right.
all that good stuff. Now, based off of what you've seen and who you've worked with, what percentage would you say of the cases you work on that have nothing to do with just stupid mistakes some people make, but absolute corruption? Like they were fucking around with this person's life. They were doing that. I would assume it would be pretty low, but there are people out there that will say, no, I bet you 100% of it are. I just want to get respect from someone that's actually working with there and not just armchair quarterback.
Right. And you know what I guess I try to not form any opinion or judgment on the situation until I can really kind of just for example, like when I first get a case and I first start really investigating it, one of the first things I do is look for all of the investigators that worked on it, the emergency services people who are invaluable sources of information, who have really helped out in some of the cases that I have done, and look to see if where those people are now, if they're still not, officers, and try and get a feel for that, because that having that information and then looking through the rest of the case or the archives, I'll have that in the back of my mind, and I know like if anybody's been disciplined, or I'll look for just old, even newspaper articles like microfiche we had to go through at one of the libraries. It was the dark ages, you know what I mean? So a lot of that kind of thing is, again, like in Detroit, or even we have, what will happen is police officers, usually it's the police officer, there will be a way for them to explain this. If you can make some, or if something is a mistake on their part, you'll really be able to see that, as opposed to this can be seen as a mistake, even though we all know that's bullshit and it's not a mistake, but you can't prove it. And I think in the southern states, that's more so where it's prevalent, because you're talking about working with, marginalized population, and there's a lot of people who, they don't know their rights.
Right.
And it's amazing that they don't, but they really don't. And especially 30 years ago, because all of these cases that we're dealing with are decades old. So, 30 years ago. Right. And at that time, it was, you trusted the police implicitly. People would not question them like they do today.
Right.
So it's a lot different. And I think a lot of that too, like just as far as the corruption, like my guy up here in Boston, this is going to take forever. And it's already, it's just, you just have to be careful with that, because there are the cops.
So majority of the cases that you deal with, would you say they're just some mistakes that are made and, just like, or...
No, most of them have an element of wrongdoing in some way. I wouldn't say full on corruption, but I would say that there are people who look for, maybe little ways throughout, the span of their career to kind of cumulatively, increase their chances for wherever it is they're heading and what position they want to be in. But I think because they believe that the people that they're arresting probably are guilty and no one's going to care and look into it. And that's exactly what happens. My Georgia case, they had a receipt proving he was not in the spot that he was meant to be in order to have time to commit this crime. And it disappeared. And they didn't bring anybody, the person who worked in the store that saw him at the time that they saw him, they didn't bring that person to court as a witness. That was never done. And that is intentional because it would not work for the prosecution if that person were to testify.
Wow. They needed somebody convict. And they picked your guy.
Yeah, well, and plus his was, she was 12 years old, so everybody was outraged. He did not have a chance at the beginning, so things like that are not, no one cares. No one cares. So it is very, I have to say at first when I got the case and I found out what it was, you really have to think about that. And because it's a child, but someone else is out there who did this. There's a third donor of blood at the crime scene and no one knows who it is. Or at that time, didn't know who it was. They didn't have a match for that.
To me, it kind of sounds like you almost could be working for Lifetime in their what movie should we make this week department with some of the stories you're telling.
Exactly. And that's crazy, right? But that's how it works out sometimes. And we had, so for this is kind of just infuriating to me, but the person who we believe did this, committed this crime, was a neighbor. And at that neighbor's house, I should say the apartments, it was like all one level. And there were these L-shaped apartments, and there were 3 of them right next to each other. So my client lived in one with his girlfriend and her kids, and then the guy who lived in the one next to that with his fiance, he lived there. And when this occurred, he was out there. He went, my client came out screaming that, something happened. This neighbor comes running out, tries to help him, goes in there and looks at, the body to see if she was still breathing, and didn't touch anything and left. He said he touched nothing. He went in to see if she was breathing, didn't touch her, left. And that was the only time he was in there. And 2 days later, they go back to his apartment to speak to him, take a piece of evidence that was there and later tested with her, a spot of blood on that was the victim's blood, and a spot of blood on that was the third donor's blood in this guy's apartment. And when they showed up that morning, he had on a shirt. I think I told you this, Tim, like he had a shirt on that had blood on it. And when they asked him what that was, where that blood came from, he had said he was working on his car. He must have cut himself.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And they took nothing. Nothing.
Like,
this person
really?
was referred to as a witness from the beginning. So that's the kind of, what do you do with that? So I'm just thankful we have the piece of evidence that they took from his house. But that's the kind of,
Okay, I remember my question.
Okay.
Go.
So if they run out of appeals, do y'all still help them, or are you able
Yeah.
to help
So
them, or?
when they run out of appeals, and they do, what we look for, we have to find new evidence in order to have any movement with that. So a lot of the time when we are evaluating a case, we are careful to look for Brady violations, which is evidence that the prosecution has withheld from the defendant, and could be helpful in his defense, and they never get. So a lot of the time with the old cases, like I was explaining earlier, the prosecution decides what they're going to use in court, and that is it. And that's the only thing the defense gets. So looking at the evidence yourself and really picking it apart is important, because that's where you're going to find Brady violations a lot of the time. And that would be, I mean, a couple of my cases had several. One case that I had worked on, it was substantial, and that still is not, that hasn't come back yet. But yeah, those are the little things that you really have to look for, because that's what's going to be the thing that gets them out.
Okay.
Unfortunately, when you you can look at some of these things and think, why wouldn't they turn this over? This is, this person could have avoided 30 years of jail and lost their life. And for what? Because they didn't want to ruin their own case? I don't know. That's not what justice is. You are not serving justice at that point, and it's terrible.
Exactly.
Mm. So
well, this has been a lot of fun, but right quick, I just want to open this up right now to this is Tim's thinking about doing his own channel and doing his own show. So I just wanted to open this up to kind of give Tim a little bit of feedback on how you guys think today's show went. I'll start with you, Jules. How do you think the show went?
I think, well, to be honest with you, when I speak about these things, it's not in this form. So I had a lot of fun, and I think you did a good job. I think it went well. And I think this is something that you have to, learn as you go. The only way you're getting better is to continue doing it. So I think that there's a lot of potential for you.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter that I've known you since you were 16 years old, but
Oh, so she's got stories. All
yes,
right.
I do.
Oh,
I
we've
do.
already talked about this, and we're already going to collab on a tell-all stream about Tim, and Tim is not going to be allowed up, so he can't refute anything she's saying.
Awesome.
Yeah, but just to be clear, I have to worry about retaliation here as well. So
that's true, you do. That's true, you do. Oh, it's only Tim. I'm sure you could just hold your hand out and just in the cartoons, you'll be swinging and you can't hit. He's only 5'2". Pretty sure. All right, Gary, what do you have to say, sir?
Okay, first of all, Tim, I think you did an excellent job. You had an excellent person to talk to, and it was a very good interview. Until, now mind you, until the panel started building up and you got more of an audience, and then you started to lose it slightly.
So
Kenny muted me. Kenny muted me.
Well, Tim,
he had to.
Unfortunately, Tim, Gary's right. During the interview, you're perfect, and that was great. But I think the problem is when other people came involved, you didn't allow them to be involved. You just kind of kept going like it was a one-on-one. But unfortunately, with panels, that's not how you can. That's not how you have a panel.
And I feel responsible for some of that as well, because I've never done this before, so I don't know how it works, and I just keep going in.
Well, it's the thing. And Tim's, this is his first time, so he doesn't get a whole lot of slack for it. But just as, like I said, it's a learning as you go thing. But I'm with Gary. I think he did a good job towards the beginning, and I thought it went really well. The content matter was very interesting. There's a lot of good audience participation. Oh, another thing, just make sure you look at the screen. You remember before the show. Now make sure you put questions up. I was putting questions up. It was a little Barry that wasn't paying attention to the question.
You know what? I have to say that when I was trying to just sort of monitor the side too, it's kind of tricky to keep track of it a little bit.
It is, but that's why I was flashing them on the screen for you guys. I've been doing this for a little bit, so I figured out how to do it. All you guys had to do is like, well, Tim, all you had to do is look at the screen, and every once in a while, especially when she was talking, that's usually when I take the time to do what I need to do when the other person is talking, as the host of the show. Just a little trick.
Well, I mean, Kenny, would you actually interrupt Jules the way she was talking? I wasn't about to. I'll tell you that right now.
Don't bring me into this here.
All right, so Lavender, how do you think you did? You've been here the whole time, so Lavender.
Yeah. Sorry. I think Tim did a good job. He had some great questions. It's a very in-depth subject.
It is.
So
more importantly, I don't care if I did a good job.
She's talking.
See, Tim, that's the problem. There, we're on a panel. She was talking, and you completely just railroaded her and started talking. This is what we're talking about. This is the problem. All right, go ahead, Lavender.
I thought he did a good job. He had questions. I don't know if they were prepared or not, but
no, for the most part, they weren't.
Oh, then that was good because I forget every 2 seconds what I'm thinking.
Well, what I had earlier too, and I'm sorry to be now the one interrupting you, just to answer that, is I had told him that I can answer whatever that comes up, and not to be too concerned about having a structured questions for me, that because I talk about this a lot, so I'm not
right.
I can guide it, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, he did a good job. I just would like to have had more of the questions that Kenny kept putting up on the screen answered instead of them sitting there for so long. But it's your first time.
And I take responsibility for that too, because I kind of wasn't sure, I wasn't getting them right away. I was just kind of
you're
going
the guest.
on.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah, but I could see them if I looked down, and here I am just kind of going on. So I apologize for that. It's yeah.
No, I appreciate all your information. It was great.
I'm going to McDonald's right now. You guys keep going, doing what you're doing.
Well, that will kill you. That food kills you.
No one said you've done a bad job here. I don't know why you're getting upset. Everyone said you did a good job. They're giving you constructive criticism. Suck it up.
I am sucking it up. But you keep cutting me off every time I suck it up.
Oh,
yeah. There we go.
That reminds me of someone. Who does that remind you of, Lavender?
What's that, Carl?
Hey, Lavender.
Carl, help me, buddy.
Stop talking, Tim.
Jeez, are you serious?
Yes.
I got my wedding dentures on.
I see that.
Well, I'm just going to cut in here. I had a really good time talking with all of you tonight, and I actually have a class in a few minutes, so I'm going to have to go and get online for that. And I would love to do it again. This has been really great. Thank you, Kevin. Or Kenny.
Wow.
I know, right?
Kevin. His name is Kevin.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Kevin Klein TV.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. Tim has my email address if you ever wanted to get in. It's on the about section almost on every video of mine, but I would love to have you on again. And just tackle different subjects. Maybe
Absolutely.
some auditors just to see
I was
what
gonna
you think
say
about
maybe
what
have
they're
a couple
doing. And
auditors
yeah,
up here.
I
That'll
think
be
that would be very interesting. So yeah, so
cool.
feel free. And Tim, pass along the information, and we'll do. And we definitely got to do the Tim roast type thing. We'll get Taco to do a roast first, and then we'll just have you on, and all the horror stories will show up.
Yeah, I got people I can bring for that too. So
Oh damn!
Come on, Jewel. No, no, no. No, 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 no,
See, they're never gonna let me live this down now. Kevin,
Nope.
however, he was out there, but they're never gonna let me live.
Exactly.
yes,
Nope.
I'm sorry about that.
We got no name.
Kevin, he was out there a bit.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate it, and I can't wait to do it again.
Thank you for being here.
Have a
Thank
good night, everybody. Bye.
Thank
You
you, Jules.
too.
Have a good night.
Study well in your class. All right, so Asian, how do you think Timmy did, or Tim Boy did?
First and foremost, yeah, good content, good topic today. Very interesting for me. I thought overall Tim did a fairly good job. I liked the structure initially where it was just him and Jules one-on-one, just so we can get a little more context background. I thought that was good, and then letting panelists come up and ask questions live. I thought maybe the feedback there would be when you have panelists come up, maybe a little bit more interaction, participation, things like that. And it's always hard to do these things virtually. I don't think people are intentionally trying to cut each other off, right? We're waiting for that sudden pause, thinking that maybe they're done. I think what would help is if something like StreamYards had a little button similar to like the mute button, where you can hit a button where it raises your hand or your avatar glows or something.
Oh, yeah.
That you want.
That would be cool.
You know, that'd be, and then
Like, hey,
obviously
yeah.
the host can control that, right? So anyway, my 2 cents.
Oh, I agree, and I think absolutely, and I concur with you on that one. But yeah, Tim, I thought you did a decent job. It went really well. I think your strong suit definitely is. Again, I think you should stick to the one-on-one interviews until you get more hang of how to do this in interaction with the audience. And also remember, even when you're doing the one-on-one, maybe set up a time like an hour and a half or something where you're just talking questions and time yourself. And then when you're done with that, then you say, okay, now I want to open up to people asking questions, and then have like a little conversation if there's no questions between questions, but always go back to the questions. You need to have it structured. I understand the conversation was really well and you really enjoyed it, and that's great. But it can't just be like it's you and her having a conversation. You're producing a show. It's got to be a little structured.
Okay.
Other than that, I think you did good. And and maybe if you want to practice on the panels, just when you're on panels, just make sure like you don't interrupt people when they're talking, because you tend to do that a lot in panels.
No,
and it's hard
to yourself.
And there's a lot of instances where you can't really blame that on your delay, because people will be talking like Lavender was talking earlier, and you just completely started talking.
Well, honestly, while Jules was talking, I wanted to interject, and it's like, no.
That's exactly what you see what I'm doing right here. That's what you got to do. You got to take control of it. It's your show. You can't let someone else run the show. And even again, so like, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to ask this question, or hey, I want to give someone else thoughts. You can do it politely without being a total dick, right? But you just got to remember, you got to control the show, especially if you start doing it and you're on your own. You have to control it, especially when it's the panels. They get tough. They're tough. They're not easy. And I know this is your first time, but I thought for your first time, you did pretty good.
I thought he did too.
Yep.
Thank you very much, guys. It was like one of those things. My guest was actually, was just like so. I don't want to say intimidating, but man, you heard how she just like ripped everything off. Bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, bang. And it's like, she's on a roll. I'm not going to mess with that.
No, but you kind of have to, and
Yeah.
especially with this format, you kind of have to, because all right, if it was your own show, yeah, you can do whatever you want. But I'm telling you, it'll be hard to retain an audience because a lot of audience they come on YouTube. There's a comment section for a live chat to interact with that live chat. It's not television. I think that's the issue. I think you're used to produce television. You said you did interviews before or radio or whatever. It's a completely different ball. It's a completely different ball game, right?
Yeah,
completely different.
I tried to call attention to questions during the chat. You heard that.
Not so much.
After I had to come in like 3 or 4 times and get you to see the chats, Tim. I mean,
okay.
I'm just gonna be honest with you here.
Yeah.
I mean, but again,
yeah.
It's your first time. It's your first time, and you'll get better at it. But I find that really interesting, especially when you before chat make sure you show the questions, and then you didn't even look at the question. I thought that was a little odd. No, I kid you not, guys.
Honestly, because I figured out the first question.
No, if there's questions, Kenny, I want to make sure you put those up because I want to get those. And did he get to those guys without help?
Why are you asking a rhetorical question?
Man, Asian, this was like too bad it wasn't easy like it was this week when we were talking with Desert Sentinel, man. That was just easy. We just sat back and listened, just like, damn, this fucker is just so good.
Yeah.
He's just on it. He was so knowledgeable. Your guest was awesome, by the way. I can't wait to have her back on, especially when she starts talking about you. And maybe we can get to talking about auditors. And we just have like a big blowout, and I think it's going to be phenomenal.
I was thinking about movies like Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, right. Right. That's such a great movie.
Mystic River.
Mm-hmm. Damn, no, I want to watch Shawshank Redemption.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Shawshank? Oh, no.
Or Titanic.
What? What?
No.
Sacrilege. That's
Lavender,
right
what
there, Lavender.
planet have you been living on?
Dude, I just can't.
That's like, oh, wow. I still love you.
Thank you.
That's like saying, I've never
sorry.
seen Game of Thrones. Like, how could you have not seen the Game of Thrones?
Well, I can understand. Oh my God!
Well, at least one. No, my point is one episode. How could you have not seen at least one episode?
I've never seen.
I have never seen an episode either.
You've never seen a Game of Thrones either, Tim?
How do you avoid it though? It's all over the place.
Well, with Tim, he probably couldn't reach the TV.
That's fair. But still, I mean, even on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, it's all over the place. Anyway,
I keep having to jump up. I jumped up to hit the
I got you. Yeah, those are two. That's your homework. Until next time, watch one of those shows. At least one episode of Game of Thrones. But you'll be hooked. If you watch the first episode of Game of Thrones, you're hooked.
Oh yeah,
it is that fucking good.
Oh yeah,
yep. You will be hooked after the first episode.
The first season set it all up. I mean, it was
My God,
it was crazy.
Poor Sean. I'm Sean Penn. Sean. What's his name? Sean Bean. Sean Bean. He dies in almost every single character he plays. I kid you not. I kid you not. You seen Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
He was the guy that tried to take the ring from Frodo and ended up dying. Yeah, that was him. Now, and he died in. Did he also die in Boondock Saints as well?
I believe so. He was the brother. He was the brother.
Yeah, and he dies.
He crazy over the ring.
And that's kind of like a meme sort of thing. He freaking always dies in the shows he does. And the first fucking episode of Game of Thrones, it's like,
and he was in a James Bond movie with Pierce Brosnan, where he was a former 00 agent, and he died in that one too. Turned bad guy and then died.
Wow, so that's why I said I thought Titanic was a great comedy. Wow. I don't think it was intended to be a comedy.
And you see, Hornet's never seen Game of Thrones either.
Well, Hornet gets a
so
pass.
There's two of you, so what?
No, 3. Tim too.
3. Oh, I forgot.
Oh, well, I think it was 2.5, right?
2.5.
Jesus. Really? Come on.
We're messing with you, Tim. And Lavender.
Why?
All right. So the only way we're going to be able to forgive you is if you have to learn a British accent by tomorrow, and then we'll all forgive you. All will be forgiven if you learn a British accent
By tomorrow?
by tomorrow. British accent,
Okay.
full on.
Okay.
Hello, mate. How's that sound?
That's
I'm on my
Australian.
way.
Yeah, that's Australian. Jimmy's gonna be pissed
Oh,
at you.
shit.
I don't mean to harp on old news, but I noticed that Omaha uploaded his 13-second clip from when he got arrested. And what I find interesting about all of this is, and Bronson uploaded his, but they edited out the part where he's crawling on the floor.
Oh yeah, they always do. They're
Of
not
course.
going to show that.
But what's interesting is on Bronson's video, you can hear the officers say that they received the dispatch that there was a man crawling on the floor.
Yeah. I think he's really pissed off at me for yesterday because he tried to come on panel. But look, here's the thing. Normally, I don't mind when he comes on, but dude, this is the Resistance was on. It was the first time he'd ever been on, and I wanted him to have a chance to, kind of like have it out or whatever we need to discuss. Omaha was going to try and he would have talked about something else, and we would have got completely off subject. That's what I didn't want, and I think he's upset at me because of that. But at the same time, I was like, well, look, dude, I told him, look, I had him on there. If you want to come on and talk about whatever, he knows I'm good. I'll let him come up and talk if he wants to. Just so I think he's upset about that. We'll see.
Oh, darn. So what happened? I missed it. It was too late for me.
we had me and Taco had our little show, and we were when we opened the panel up for a little bit, we were talking. I was getting ready to leave. Resistance says, "Give me the link." Son of a bitch. He comes out. It's probably like a half hour of the stream. He came up, and he wasn't bad at all. I mean, he came up. He said what we had to say. He wasn't like Patrick when he comes on, or Omaha when he comes on, or anyone else like that. It was more like if Joe Cool were on. I mean, it went as smoothly as it did with Joe Cool. He listened to what we had to say. He agreed with some things. He didn't agree with other things, and that's fine. But I mean, I think we left the conversation having a better understanding of what each side does. I mean, maybe not agreeing with what he didn't maybe agree with everything we still do. And of course, we still don't agree with everything he does, but we had a more understanding, and he realizes now that he can come on here and not get attacked. I think that was the issue before. But then again, the people that he has come in, they were still doing their stupid crap. And it's just like, it was ridiculous. Like, we were having this great cordial conversation, right, Asian? And then you look in the chat, and you've got people that he brought in talking about, they're never going to learn resistance, blah, blah, blah. It's like, really? Are we not listening to the same conversation here? It's like, really?
So funny. It was so funny. And then he finally came up. He did come up, to his credit.
Yeah.
And it was an absolutely cordial conversation. It was somewhat surprising, but I was happy it ended up that way. And I thought, I thought we created some bridges.
Is he still trying to take the channel down?
Kind of good when you get to know him, right?
Yeah, he's not. And that's the see here. See, that's the thing. Like, we can't judge the auditors as a person by just their audits. And I mean, I'm a big proponent of that. Just like with Omaha, we don't like what he's doing to audit, but honestly, I think I can help him if given the chance, or at least I like to try to, just him as a person. And maybe that will affect his audit. The Resistance, on the other hand, I won't go out audit with him. I probably won't agree with all of his audits, but you know what? After having a talk with him, you know what? He's not a bad dude. I mean, he's not a bad person, and I can respect him for that. Tim, I'm talking. Tim, do you hear me? You hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? I'm talking. You're interrupting me again.
Yes, ma'am. I'll go sit in the corner now.
Well, it's just Tim. It's simply just that you need to get out of that habit, especially if you're going to host your own show. You got to get out of the habit of interrupting people, because no one's going to want to come on your panel if they keep getting interrupted, right?
Well, honestly, I,
It's a
you know,
yes or no
I, no,
question.
Kenny,
It's a
seriously,
yes or no
the
question.
way I look at it, it's like I almost feel like we're having a conversation with each other, like face to face. You know what I mean? So I'm very, very sorry.
So
Oh, no.
you cut people off when you're
Yeah,
face
so
to
yes,
face
you
too?
cut people off when you're face to face.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you're honest with it, you know.
Right?
At least he's
Kenny,
honest with
may
it.
I interject for just a second or two?
No.
That
First
was
off,
loud.
I just want to congratulate you on your win last night on the headline contest.
That's right, baby.
But
It's a streak coming up.
but I do have to clarify that. When I saw the notification come up, I went up and pressed the reminder button, and I fell asleep. And I didn't wake up. And I didn't wake up until you were doing your last one about the guy with the shillelagh. And so I
That
thought,
was
well,
awesome, wasn't it?
that was.
That one was fucking awesome. I knew that was the close.
I had to, when I voted for you based on that alone. I didn't hear any of the others.
See, I know my audience. That's the thing. I knew that was the one that was going to get everyone over the top. I'm like, come on, who doesn't want to see a good shillelagh beating? I mean, come on. I know see, that's what Taco doesn't understand. I've been doing this for a year now, so I know my audience. I know what you guys like. I know what you guys don't like. I can fill you out a little bit. Now, most of you, not all of you. Lavender still confuses me, but that's another story. But yeah,
I'm supposed to.
That's her job.
Yeah.
All right, so Perfect Sense is here, and we were just talking about how we had a good conversation with the Resistance. It was us, and it was a really good show, and I actually hope he decides to come on again because I think he could. I mean, I always when I started this channel, that is what I envisioned, having conversations with auditors about what they do, cordial conversations, and maybe not coming to the same agreement when we're done, but at least being able to say, yes, I see your point there. Yes, I understand what you're saying, and they could say the same thing to me. And I think I'm able to do that with a few auditors, not all of them. And, whatever, I can't expect to do that with all of them because they're not all at the same maturity level. Let's be real. Like, there's no way in hell I could have a conversation like that with Glenn or Anselmo, or Will. It just wouldn't happen.
Mm-mm.
But there are certain auditors that can do that, and Resistance apparently is one of those auditors, and that's fantastic. I really like that, and the fact that he came up again, I hope it comes up again.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
and unfortunately, Perfect Sense. That's just one thing we can't control in this type of community, aka the internet, especially in chat. You just can't control what other people are going to say. You can't control their opinions, let alone their keyboards, right? So
only that when I went into Resistance live feed, I was attacked when I went into there. If I go into Anselmo's live stream, I'm attacked when I go there. If you respect First Amendment auditors and what they do and the fact that they're standing up for your First Amendment right, how the hell can you be against free speech? Makes no fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I'm allowing people to have free speech. Now, when they get a little out of hand, then they're going to get, something will happen. That's the way that is.
And Perfect Sense, just thinking out loud in a respectful way. I've said this numerous times, but it's the internet. That's the bottom line. And there's going to be the notion of keyboard warriors, people who want to share their opinions and attack, to your point, in chat. But I can guarantee you, they'll never come up on panel and talk about it. So if you know this going into this community, you can't really take the attacks personally.
No, Perfect. People saw me. It's fact they kept saying, maybe not you, but I went in and said, oh, look, KKK TV is here. Come on. That's an attack. I don't care who you are. That's an attack. That's a racist attack. I take offense to things like that. So, no.
So do I.
That's just shit that happens. And I didn't make a big deal out of it. You're over here making a big deal out of people's free speech on this channel. If they attack you personally and say something racist or sexist or something like that, I will stop them from saying that to you because I don't respect that type of thing in my chat. And hold on, Odin, let me put the thing link up. Sorry, we're not Nazis, goddammit. Yeah, so yeah, the panel's open. If anyone wants to come on up and feel free.
Yeah, I find it a little unfair to judge the host of a channel based on what's being said in chat.
Right.
Oh, it happens all. Well, and I agree, and I totally agree. But don't a lot of people do that when people? I mean, I'm not trying to defend Brian, but people do that with Brian too, right? Let's be fair. Let's be honest. There's certain, not everyone, but there is a percentage of people that would do that with Brian as well. So I think it happens on both sides.
Again, 99% of the chat was on you. Perfect sense. I get it, but we have no control over that. You know, what people are going to say in chat is what people are going to say. I'm sorry that 99% of it was focused on you the last time you were here, but you can't use that to judge Kenny. It's just not right. It's not fair. It's not logical.
What's up, Odin? How are you?
Especially when there's so many other things we can judge Kenny by.
Oh, and like
Kevin.
like my stunningly good looks, and the fact that I have perfect hair. Well, actually, I don't.
Your name is really Kevin.
Yeah, and my name is really Kevin.
Hey, Kevin, how can they, or Kenny, how can they call you Ku Klux Klan when you only got 2 Ks?
They added the triple K because when the Resistance came out here before, he said that I was a black man that was, calling out other black men. He didn't really like that, so he did a little KKTV, and then his little fanboys and fangirls decided to keep it going. Yeah, how that goes.
How come they're not paying attention?
No, they're asking for receipts on that.
There's a fucking Asian man on the panel, people. And they think Kenny's KKK. Like, you serious, man? Like, you guys just aim before you shoot, please.
And do they really know what prejudice is and what racism is? Racism, you would think your race is superior race to every other race.
Yes,
prejudice
absolutely.
is where you dislike a certain race because you had bad run-ins with them.
Absolutely, Odin. Odin, the voice of reason. I guess you're gonna have to fill in while Diver's out and about. So I'm gonna need you to come and fill in and be the voice of reason on here. Usually it's Diver.
Yeah.
Asian's the voice of reason.
Actually, if I could
Asian
ask
too.
how
I miss Diver.
I did.
Asian, can I use you for an example?
Absolutely, Olden. I trust you.
I
Famous last words.
I'm crossing my.
This is just an example. It's not legit or anything like that. Some people would say they never found a nice Asian person because they're always snappy and crappy and anti-white person. So therefore, I must not like Asian people, or I'm prejudiced towards Asian people.
I honestly think we just need to stop. We need to stop throwing out phrases like that, and without at least some sort of merit. It stops bridges from being built. It puts sinkholes in those bridges that are already built, and we don't need to do that. I mean, we all are a part of the First Amendment community. Either you're on one side or you're on the perceived other side. We all want the same thing. What's up, Taco?
Hello.
Oh,
I had to come and proudly announce that Omaha is running for mayor.
What do you mean?
He has posted a video announcing he is running for mayor of Omaha.
My audio just cut out.
Omaha for Omaha.
Wait, isn't there an age restriction?
I don't know, but he is running for mayor. He has a video up.
Hey.
But warning, if you play it, he's going to copyright strike you. Unless you have express email permission.
Then why put it up?
Because he's Omaha.
Because apparently that's a part of his mayoral video is to warn people that if you copyright his video or if you have mirrored his videos, he's going to copyright strike you.
Oh my God.
Talk
Wow.
about being counterproductive.
Right?
I'm running for mayor. I'm running for mayor, but I don't want anyone to advertise on my behalf.
Right.
Okay.
Well, hold on.
Carl, you're gonna need to add you're gonna need to do something with your mic. It's not letting me add you to the panel. It says device not connected. So I don't know what that's all about.
I got a question. Since he's running for a government position, wouldn't that make him where he would have not to copyright strike people and just allow it? Or is that meaning he's going to be a tyrant and copyright
Oh,
strike?
because he's a political figure at that point.
Yep.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
The Trump thing.
Is he still up? He makes a video.
The video's still up.
Did he? Oh, he still wasn't live?
No, it's a like a regular video. It's like a stagnant video.
Okay.
So Kenny, Perfect Sense is demanding receipts about where it said KKK TV in the comments.
You're gonna, I make five. Fucking Tim. Hold on. God damn.
Meg asked me about that. I'm sorry. What's up with this KKK cut?
Okay, now, thank you, Tim. All right, so I have 5-7 hour live streams. If you want to go and find, if you want to go and look for it, it was that much bothering me, you go ahead and look at it. I'm not fucking sitting down for 7 hours to find it just to placate you. If you want to go and do it and prove whatever, you go ahead and do it. Shit.
Hey, Asian, look backstage.
So Kenny, I think you can actually mirror you can show the Omaha for Mayor video then, because technically he's a public figure.
Oh God.
Yep.
I don't think I want to see it, honestly.
It's pretty good.
I'll probably check it out later, but I'm not gonna do it right now. No, she is demanding. She said it like 3-4 times now, but it's all good. Whatever. If you want to come on up and have a come on up. Anybody can come on up. We can just fucking sit here and talk about whatever. But yeah, I'm go 7 hour fucking videos, man. That's just a way too much fucking work. I don't got 5 or 7 hours to sit and to find out.
And he also posted a 17-second teaser of his arrest.
Did he? Oh yeah, I know we talked about that where it's just his version, and of course it doesn't show a whole lot.
It shows them like telling them to go on the ground. That was about it.
I'd like to see the security cameras.
I want to see like the 10 minutes before.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the security cameras.
Yeah.
That way
the security cameras at the security cameras at the gas station for sure. See what happened leading up to the incident.
I like how Chuck Bronson replaced Omaha with No Name.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just
and Kenny, before you silence me again, even though my name is on, the panel, right?
That section of the panel.
I mean.
Yeah, Kenny, you need to take your rightful place.
I don't understand What?
What was he
auditing? Carl.
Hey, Carl. I said Kenny needs to take his rightful place now.
Hola, Carl.
Oh.
There you go.
That's what it is.
I think it's Taco Takeover now.
Taco
Fuck it.
Takeover.
Where everyone this is when everyone wants to see Asian. That's the one that needs to take over. Hey, how about Asian? You want to take over sometime?
Asian's already got a show.
I actually like being like a 1A on panel, meaning like a co-host or just
Fair enough.
Lavender's next.
Nothing Asian. You were asking my friend, really good questions. Thank you.
Oh no, thank you. I actually had tons more in my head, but you know,
Wow.
I recognize the circumstances. So, no, it's an interesting topic, nevertheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though Kenny keeps blocking
It was
me.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was
You
definitely
came
deep.
prepared.
Yeah, it was.
I give you kudos, Tim. You came prepared and everything.
You guys remember the Central Park? So back in the 90s, I want to say, if memory serves me correct, there was an incident where a female jogger was jogging through Central Park in New York City just after dusk, and she got group raped by a
Central
group
Park
of,
6.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if memory serves me correct, and I hope this is the case right now, forgive me if it's not, I'll go Google it. But I think about 10 years ago, the 6 got released because they were innocent.
Correct.
Yeah. And what
It's
did they
just like the
serve?
Duke lacrosse players.
Yeah, they served over 20 years in prison for something that they didn't do. And I believe the city paid them out $3 million apiece after they were released.
And Asian, I mean, think about it. 3 million doesn't mean shit.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you've been shut out of society for God knows how many years.
Oh, I wouldn't take that deal.
I mean, you know, the way you were talking to Jules earlier, I mean, it was just like Asian gets it. He gets it.
Could you imagine the emotional trauma they were behind prison?
Oh, yeah.
And $3 million, here's for your emotional trauma. Huh? Really?
I don't mean to
Don't
joke.
worry about that. Here's a check. Get lost.
Something's better than nothing, though.
This is true.
I don't know.
I don't mean to joke around, but maybe they'll become frauditors now.
Maybe.
Because it seems like that's how it originally starts with the frauditor side of it is they have some kind of jaded experience from the past. And now they're using this platform as a form of revenge or to get back at them.
Yeah, but the frauders are usually guilty.
Exactly.
That's
and this
how
is-
ODA got started.
And exactly. And this is why I'm happy that the resistance came up last night to have a conversation with us because he basically said it, right? What initiated all of this, right? It's going back to that social economic stuff that we started talking about, right? With his past and the way he was raised and what he sees in his community. And it's unfortunate because you live life in a very defensive mode that way.
And like I said last night, I would gladly go on an audit with Resistance because I know he's up here in Boston. So it's still out there, the author, anyway.
I have no respect for the man.
Okay.
Just put it out there.
Is he allegedly a child abuser?
I'm not sure.
These are the things, that make me worry. People kind of like, bring up stuff. And obviously, if he was involved in like anything, it would have come up by now.
My issue with him is the whole filming the women's center and the vulgarity and the intensity he uses towards cops.
Mm-hmm.
He's unhinged.
I
don't like it.
I agree.
Don't like it one bit.
I agree.
The whole filming a woman's shoulder, should it be? No. Does he have the right to film whatever he can say? Yes.
That is the thing.
He filmed in the window of that place. It's disgusting.
That's just creepy.
The one where the cop called me could have been charged with being a peeping Tom.
Depends on the state law.
Yeah, there's a bunch of the peeping tom law is different in a lot of different states.
Well, they said they could have done it to him.
Well, no, see, with the peeping tom laws, it can't be on public property. It has to be private property. That's what a lot of the laws, and it specifically says private property, and he was on public property.
But the cops actually said they could have done it to
That's
him.
the law
Well, the
in
cops were wrong. Yep.
Massachusetts.
The cops were wrong. It's public property. I mean, it's private property.
That's the
You have
law
to be
in
on private property
Massachusetts. It's not.
for that law to take an effect, and he was not on private property. So the cops were wrong, and cops are wrong on occasion. It happens.
It's not the law in Massachusetts, Kenny. I'm telling you.
What are you talking about? No, Massachusetts has like its. Hold on, let me look. Every state law that I've looked at, it's on public. Private property.
Granted,
California has one.
Massachusetts lawmakers can, kill and impregnate people at will. Okay, but I don't think they changed that.
I'll just say, throw him in jail for the day and let the jail know that the people in jail know that he was filming a battered women's shelter. Let them sort it out.
That's it. Exactly. Let them know, hey, yeah.
I'm not one that usually
this.
Supports violence, but that's one area.
Here it is. These are just basic overviews. To prove that you have violated PC 647, which is DA must prove beyond a reasonable doubt each of the following elements of the offense. You wandered, delayed, prowled, or lingered on the private property of another person, while you had no authority, consent, or other lawful purpose to be on that property, and looked into or peeked into a window or door of an inhabited structure or dwelling on that property.
Mm.
And if it's public property, you have every right to be there, being it's public property. So again, he wasn't. There's no way they can get him for peeping Tom.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Honestly, I hope if I am able to go on a whatever with resistance, I'll be able to just be like grab him by the scruff of his neck and say like, no, you don't film that shit. But that won't happen, will it?
Oh, you might. I don't know. You might.
Fine, I correct myself. It wasn't a battered women's shelter. It was a men and women's shelter, but they weren't going there to have a good time.
They weren't going there.
This argument that people continue to use is a weak argument, which is just because you have the right doesn't make it right to do. Just because you're not breaking the law doesn't mean what you're doing is not stupid.
Or disrespectful.
Well, that's where yes, it is. That's where the moral compass comes into play. If they have no moral compass, then they can give a shit.
Exactly.
No, agreed. So please guys, let's not say it was peeping Tom, because it wasn't. We might think of it as peeping Tom as our moral compass, and I agree. Just filming inside windows is just morally wrong. You will not hear me say otherwise. But it's not, what he was doing was not criminal. I mean,
fine, it wasn't peeping Tom, but it was still creepy as all hell.
Agreed. It was creepy.
Sketchy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed, but still not illegal.
Right.
And I know it's hard to think. I mean, especially when you think of our country and how our laws are so tightly wound into just our morals as a country. I think it's hard to comprehend how some things, like how we allow some things, but then there's like that's okay, but then showing boobies or whatever on TV, like no, we can't do that. It's like, going house or something like that. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah, right.
Right. But let's take it up one more level, though, then, Kenny, using that that example you just used, right? It's not criminal. It's not breaking the law, right? So it's not peeping Tom violations, but it is a moral standard, to Taco's point. It is creepy, right? But then if you add the layer of, well, I'm a 1A auditor, what was the purpose then of auditing there? What were you trying to achieve? What bridge were you tightening by doing that? It's sort of like last night with Omaha. What were you auditing in the middle of a street of a busy intersection at night, of which there was a gas station? I didn't see any government buildings or a traffic incident that he was filming. So what was he filming exactly that someone called 911 and reported a man rolling around on the ground? He wasn't breaking the law. He's right. Rolling around on the ground is not breaking the law.
Right. It comes back to just a one of few things. Either they're doing it for the clicks and the views and the monetary gain, or they're doing it sort of vendetta against the government and the police. Those are really the only two things I can think. Or they think it's their version of fun. I guess it could be.
So if you right, and if you classify yourself as a 1A auditor, neither one of those examples are positive.
Absolutely,
they're stupid.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then you get arrested and you ask your supporters for donation money, and just because they don't donate because you just did something stupid outside the boundaries of adding value for 1A auditors, you get all pissed off.
Yeah.
They like to call us trolls, but they're the actual real life trolls to police. They go to elicit a response, and when they get it, they get upset.
Not just to the police, but also to some of the public.
To the public, yeah.
Yeah, anybody that works in the public sector, they seem to have a deep disdain for. Not all of them, but some of them do have this deep disdain for him, and it's ridiculous. And like, oh, if you don't want to like filming, then you need to go in the private sector. What if they want to help people? What if they got into the public sector because they really have a deep longing to help people, and they that's what they want to do. So they shouldn't, because you feel the need to go out and film because, one, either you can't hold down a normal job, two, maybe your life is so inadequate that you have to find other ways to give it meaning, or three, maybe you actually do want to get some change. I'm sure there's that small percentage of voters that do want to have change, but those aren't the ones that are huge. Let's put it that way. They're not the most popular auditors, because again, they will post good interactions as well as bad, and their videos won't do as well because of the fact that, whoa, you're not yelling at the cops. Oh, you're going and telling cops you're doing a good job. Oh, you're boring, and they won't get the views.
Two words for you, Kenny. 2 words for you, Kenny. PayPal Patty.
What does that have to do with anything?
He's a piece of shit.
Okay, there you go. Okay, fair enough.
So Tim, I was going to ask Tim, how did and Taco, you were there too, the St. Jude fundraiser go on Sancho's panel?
Yeah.
It went very good.
Did Patty ever show receipts?
No.
Well, last I heard, Sancho raised over $740, I think it was, and like people kept like showing receipts. It was like so cool. It was awesome.
That's great. That's great.
But yeah, Patty, there's been questionable numbers that have been shown by Patty of how much he has to donate, but they've been very sketchy.
And he still hasn't shown that he has donated.
Correct.
But yet
he's saying he's going to pay this weekend.
Night made up for everything that Patty, quote unquote, promised St. Jude's, didn't we?
But that's not
hold
the
on,
point, Tim.
But here's the thing, guys. You have to give Patty a little bit of time. He got the check on Monday, right? He's going to have to deposit. If he didn't, what if he got it at like 3:00 on Monday? Could he, or 5:00, whatever, because the mail was late. He
apparently, Kenny, he videoed the check. He videoed about the check last week. Apparently,
is there any napkins?
He got it Monday. He got it Monday. I mean, he's saying he got it Monday. I've seen screenshots that show he got it Monday, and I've actually seen screenshots when he deposited it too. I'm gonna release that video tomorrow. I don't want to give it away now.
Kenny,
But
Kenny, honest to God, if you don't stop picking up little Bobby, I am gonna fucking hang myself in my bathroom.
But here's the thing. I think it's premature to really get on him yet. Now Monday comes and this is still going, then fuck yeah.
I
He's
agree.
a piece of shit. He needs to do that, but it's premature right now. Give him
The
time.
video happened in April.
But that was
But he didn't
before
get the
but that's
check
before
till
he got the
today,
check,
Tim.
Yeah, that's before he got the check. Way before he got the check.
Oh,
Tim.
man.
It's not
I
like
agree.
they're asking them to donate the whole 20 grand. It's like $600, maybe
But if he doesn't have the funds from the check, how can he donate that, Lavender?
If
That's
you don't,
the thing.
well, I have money that if I said I was going to donate to something, and when you deposit a check like that, some of the funds are available immediately.
No, after I was looking it up, and the first 200 have to be available. That's not enough for him to do that. So it still wouldn't have been enough.
Well, he should have had other money. I mean, if I'm going to promise to do something, I know I have money to fall back on.
He never has money available like that. That's why he's always begging for money, guys. We know this already. This isn't a surprise. This isn't anything new with Patty.
Bullshit. I think he begs for money so him and Selena can go to fucking Disney World and all this bullshit running around.
And screw them for that. Okay, Jesus, are you kidding me? And shithead. Okay, I mean, my God, and everybody else who donated to make up for the $500 that Patty said.
That's a good point, Peanut. He didn't show a check on the thing, and it could have been screenshotted. That is true, which is why I think his best bet is to screen record everything. Would someone please fucking mute while they're doing that?
That isn't me.
Someone's like drinking or something. They're messing with a straw. That's what it was. That's what I thought it sounded like.
I didn't want to tell on her.
In case you knew who it was the whole time.
Sorry, Taco.
I was like, I'm getting blamed for this?
I'm
What
no
the hell?
snitch tits.
Well,
and you actually hoping somebody else would get blamed for it. Wow.
Well, I figure yelling at a man, I won't get in trouble if I got yelling at a man. If I yell at a woman, they become sexual.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. Keep
But
talking.
guys, I really get everyone to like just assumes the worst of Patty. And you know what? I try and give people a benefit of the doubt. And I'm gonna wait till Monday before I start casting the stones at him. If Monday and he had all this time, because I don't care, a week, the fucking funds are in your money now by Friday. I would say by Friday, the money should be there. And he should be able to take it in Friday. He should be able to take it in and send the money. And he doesn't have to do all the stuff we're asking him, but it would behoove him to do these things. And I hope he does. But then again, you guys got to admit, it's not going to solve all his problems. There's still people that are going to hate him and say, no, he's full of shit. He didn't do it right. They're still going to not believe it. You know what I mean? So honestly, what would it benefit him to do it if he, what would it, how would it benefit
him at all?
No, it wouldn't.
What did I miss? My phone.
A lot.
The only thing that benefits
kind of
him
going.
is-
I got yelled at.
I got yelled at?
You
Good.
did not get yelled at.
Yes, you did.
No,
I
she
can-
didn't.
I could hear it almost coming through my phone like it was sitting on my ear.
See?
Man, Gary, if
No,
she told you the
Kenny,
sky
you're
was, she
kinda
told
out
you
of
the sky was
control,
pink,
man.
you would have
Yeah.
believed that the sky is pink. Don't give me that.
It's not? What?
See?
It's not?
Kenny yelled.
I didn't
Kenny
yell. Oh my God, I didn't yell. I was just pointing out
Kenny
something.
yelled.
That's all.
You
I
yelled
didn't
and
even
threatened to
yell.
smack her.
Oh my.
Can we all
Yeah.
remember that Kenny,
Kenny yelled.
for next Wednesday, can we all remember that Kenny yelled at Lavender?
Oh God, Taco.
That's right.
No one yelled.
Who the
That's
hell
dirty,
is
Taco.
Kenny?
That's
Who the hell
dirty,
is
Taco.
Kenny? His name is Kevin.
Oh,
Kenny
yeah.
yelled. Oh, Kevin yelled. That's right. That was
don't
classic when she said that, wasn't it?
and
Oh,
don't
yeah.
forget he
God.
threatened to smash her too.
Even I was just like,
Yeah, she's like, thanks, Kevin. Like, no, it's Kenny. I'm like, yeah, I know y'all never let me live anything down on these panels.
Nope.
right, but Kenny
It's all
yelled.
good. It's all in love.
Kenny yelled.
I did not yell.
You did
Kenny
too.
yelled.
I heard it.
No.
Hey,
We
did
have
I
it on
yell?
recording.
Did I yell? Oh, he's not even gonna help me out here.
He's not gonna say
He's
nothing.
not even gonna help me out here.
Oh, poor baby.
No, Kenny did not yell.
You're on your
He
own.
was being
Didn't do.
See?
And by the way, there's a distinction between yelling and screaming, by the way.
Yeah, there is.
Absolutely, there is.
Okay, he
Kenny
raised
yelled.
his voice.
Kenny yelled.
You
I didn't even
yell.
yell. I
you
didn't even raise
yell-
my voice.
You yell when you're angry. You scream when you're afraid.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a good distinction to make.
Or you yell when you're Kenny.
Wait, there actually are boiled
Unless you're
peanuts. What the hell does a boiled peanut taste like?
Oh, I love boiled peanuts.
Kenny yelled.
Huh.
Kenny yelled. Kenny yelled.
Then
Oh,
I
yeah.
yell.
I love boiled peanuts. So good.
Yeah, Peanut. What's the deal with all the? Do you have like legal litigation against Mr. Extra Good Citizen for the funds that he owes you?
No, they're just gonna endlessly complain about it.
Well, he's not really complaining about it.
Well,
Yeah, I've never had boiled peanuts before. I don't think I want them. Doesn't sound like something I want. I'm sorry, Carl. Go ahead.
humans and Kenny. Kevin. I must be going.
Oh, you gotta go. All right.
Yeah.
You gonna go play some? You gonna go play some?
Minecraft.
Minecraft. Thank you. I always think for some reason I always think of RuneScape first.
I did play that at one time. And I got lost on Tutorial Island for a year. It was like I got lost and a couple of times I would try to find my way out of it. And then after 10 or so minutes, I would get mad and go back to Neopets.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with playing Minecraft. Actually, earlier today I was playing Magic the Gathering Arena. It's an online version of Magic. I love that fucking game. I was playing it good. I won a new deck. Pretty happy. Just saying. Let my inner geek fly.
I know you've been trying to talk me into playing.
You should play, dude. Like, get a free account, and of course you can pay to get better. But I haven't paid one penny, and I've got like 5-6 decks already. Everyone should play it. We can all get our own. And actually, my channel name is my name, Kenny Klein TV, because I was eventually going to do it online, but I don't know what's going on. Like, I guess I need a better laptop in order to stream and play at the same time.
I've got enough stuff going on. I still got to decide which game I'm going to play. I'm at a conundrum.
What games? Maybe we can help you out here. If it's SpongeBob, it's always SpongeBob.
Well, it's between two games. It's between a game that I really want to play, but might not necessarily translate well over to an audience.
Mm.
Or do I play a game that I might not necessarily really want to play, but will translate better over to an audience?
You go with the one that's going to translate over better audience because you're still trying to build an audience.
But I really want to play the other game.
Play it then play it when you're not on streaming.
Yeah. But I just want to play games during that time.
I don't know what to tell you.
I'll leave it all
the game.
with this thought.
I like Ark.
It'd only be like 200 hours of like playing.
Um,
Taco, what game? Go ahead.
So,
Scott.
so the game I want to play is called Legend of Heroes Cold Steel or Trails of Cold Steel 4. And then the other one would be the Batman Arkham Asylum collection.
Oh, you got to go with the Batman because you actually have a lot of fun playing those games.
I know, but I really want to finish the Trails of Cold Steel series.
And if you really want to have a fun time, you need to put it on like the hardest difficulty.
No.
Yes. It's harder.
I play on a simpler difficulty just for the audience.
That's silly though, because then you don't die as much and you don't get the fuck. And that's what the audience really likes when you rage quit and die. That's what makes a video
That happens
game
enough
stream
as is.
awesome.
That happens enough already.
Taco, do you get beat up by a pansy?
I do.
Oh, wow. Personal.
I mean the flower.
I grew a bunch in Animal Crossing. I even crossbred them.
And then he had to go and piss one of them off.
Actually, someone's talking about NC Tyrant Hunter in the chat, and I actually saw him up on Golden's channel earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see what was going on. What was the gist of that?
Talking about no news, New England.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's been like in the fucking headlines today, hasn't he? I know he went on Paulie's channel earlier and gave his sob stories that he wants to do change and blah 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 blah. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
He claimed he's no longer called Sancho a pedo.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah, but he also said
Today.
that he wasn't going to apologize because he felt like people weren't ready to take his apology. And I argued the fact that you're not apologizing for them; you're apologizing for yourself first because you need to acknowledge that you fucked up.
Oh, and that's the problem. He's not admitting he did anything wrong, which is why this won't stick. It won't stick if he's not admitting to admit he did something wrong. Once he's able to do that, then I think it'll stick. But until then, we're just going around in circles, all around the mulberry bush.
The stuff that he was saying on Shelley's panel the other night was just outright slander, and people in the chat were actually saying, "Brian, shut up."
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Forget
That's
him.
That's why I'm like, I don't even focus anything on him anymore. I mean, we might talk about it every once in a while like we are now, but other than that, it's just there's no point to it. I mean, unless he does something, he goes over the line again. Okay, then maybe. But just right now, it's just I don't know. Just he's making the rounds again because he's having 15, 20 people in his freaking live stream. So he's trying to get back up and have people like him again. That's my guess. That's why he's going on Paulie's channel. That's why he's making the rounds and making his fake attempt at an apology. Will it stick? I don't think so, but we're going to find out.
He's trying to get his...
It was a fake apology. It was a fake apology. He doesn't give a shit. He's beyond remorse. He's beyond redemption.
He's trying to get his crew members back together that he all lost.
I don't think
it's making him irrelevant with all these people talking about him, so it's giving him clicks and views.
No, absolutely. And I wouldn't go as far to say that he is irredeemable. I wouldn't go that far. I think anyone can be redeemed. It just does he have the strength of character to be redeemed? Maybe not, but I don't. That doesn't make him irredeemable because he could somehow develop it. Maybe he could wish upon the star or something.
partial lobotomy.
Or that, yeah. There's a couple ways that he could do it, but I wouldn't go as far to call him irredeemable. I just think he lacks the strength of character to really make that change.
He's 58 years old. Okay. At what point, do we realize that, like, this guy is an idiot?
Wait, Devin Bay called Kenny a pedo because he doesn't show. Devin Bay talked about me? Does he? I didn't even know he. Why did he? I don't even cover him. Really? What did he say about me? I'm curious now. Why did y'all tell me this? No one told me he was talking about me.
Oh,
he made the big time.
This is news to me.
Yeah, that's news to me. What? He called me.
Fuck?
That's what I was thinking. I didn't know he knew me either.
Why would Devon Bay know Kenny?
Why would he know me?
You've never covered him at all.
I've never covered him whatsoever.
He's looking for attention now.
Just the other day.
Did I maybe use your name one time for one of the as one of the other guys?
What's his channel name now?
You know what, Kenny? I might have said when one of the watchdogs was you.
Oh, maybe you did, bastard.
Sorry.
What's his channel name?
They all got taken down. I don't know what he's using now.
What is he using to? Now I'm just curious. I wouldn't watch a video when he did on me. I just love videos on me. I don't know. It's interesting. So now I'm curious to see what the hell he's talking about me now. That's interesting. I'm a pedo because I won't show my face.
It used to be Inner City News, but that got taken down.
That sounds legit to me, guys, right? I'm a pedo because I don't show my face. That's legit.
Absolutely.
Completely legit. Oh. So
Be
what
careful
if I do?
for, you might just get it.
Crazy Zoo. What you link? Give me a link, or at least what the channel name is, or where you saw it, where you talked about me. Now I'm really curious.
You probably saw it on Road Pirate Films because that's where he streams all of Devon Bay's streams.
Yeah.
That's serious. I didn't even know he knew about me. That's funny. That's hilarious. So
I'm
maybe
telling
he's one of my. Maybe he's one of my. Like I get like 4 or 5 dislikes on every video. Maybe he's one of them.
Kenny, I think I totally said you were like. I think I said you were like Van Balian or something like that.
Oh God damn, Taco! Why are you doing that? Stop dragging me into your freaking shit.
Kenny is finally the popular jock that he should have been in high school, right?
So no one has a channel name for me? No one has a channel name for me here?
It is funny.
I can't help that I do stupid stuff.
You can't say something like that and then not have a channel name for me, guys. What the fuck?
Didn't I say that to you in a confidential email earlier?
What? Hey, you didn't even know he called me a pedo.
What?
Devin Bay, that's apparently what he said, apparently. At least that's what I'm hearing.
Tim's just not paying attention anymore. Just boot him.
He's really not paying attention to anything.
Yeah, it's not like my name is on the chat or anything, right?
Boot him off his own show.
No, it's too late. It's already done.
What?
Well, I mean, your show. I mean, you're not running the show anymore. Your section is done. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
He went from like an A- to like a C-.
Are you serious? You got to be kidding me! Come on.
Chucky will have his address. Okay.
This ain't fair.
Oh, Crazy Zoo's trying to remember the new name.
Have you seen Crazy Zoo before? This is the first time I'm seeing it. I don't recognize the name.
Apparently, he was here when we did our. He was here when we were doing the Mad Libs. Apparently, because he said you need to do the Mad Libs again.
Oh, Mad Libs, yeah.
Oh no, not the Mad Libs.
Oh,
that was fun.
That was hysterical.
A lot of them. Well,
That
you're
was
probably
a
gonna hate.
blast.
You're gonna hate Sunday's live stream. Then Taco, we're talking about Bigfoot and all this other crap.
Okay.
So you might want to skip that one. unless you're hiding a Bigfoot somewhere. If so, we're gonna.
My ex believed that in Bigfoot. She claimed she saw him. My last ex-fiance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what they say about that guys with big feet.
So I'm like Road Pirate Films, and I kid you not. Are you sure this isn't Devin Bay's channel? I mean, holy shit! Every video has this dude's ugly mug all over it.
Yeah, he pretty much archives Devon Bay.
Yeah, apparently. Geez, Christ.
Carl, what were you trying to say?
You know what they say about guys with big feet.
They got big
say-
shoes.
They say, "Damn, you got big feet."
I know what Carl's trying to say. Good one, Carl. Well, thanks for sharing that detail.
Shoes are bigger than his thing.
In other
Yeah,
words, you know what they say about a man with big feet.
They have big feet.
They say, "Damn, you got big feet."
That's right. Oh man, I love it.
Hello, Gary.
Oh my god.
Bigfoot, aka Sasquatch, aka
If you want
Yeti.
to, if you
Kenny
big
He didn't yell
Sasquatch,
anymore while I was gone, was he? Yeah.
Sasquatch, if you want to come up when we
Yes,
do
he
I do.
the Bigfoot show, you're more than welcome to come on up that Sunday. Should be a lot of fun. This is a Jimmy requested panel, so
You're doing a Bigfoot show on Sunday?
Sunday we're talking about Bigfoot and other stuff. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you'll
Elvis
have to have.
Oh, 1956. A group of Russian hikers.
Well, you'll have to have Sasquatch
Right.
up there because he'll be the go-to knowledgeable guy on his brother.
Jarhead says Bigfoot does exist. Videos don't lie.
They called it the Yeti.
Jarhead, just
Right,
because you
videos
sleep.
don't lie.
Jarhead, just because you sleep with her doesn't mean.
Oh!
Taco.
Oh,
Jeez.
Oh.
Don't tell her I said that. Don't tell her I said that.
You might be listening.
already
You
did.
are. You're probably
You heard
already in trouble.
I don't know
Yeah.
who you
oh
are.
shit.
Deep
Can we do a show on UFOs?
We sure can.
Taco who?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on the wrong channel.
What we'll do next Sunday show, we'll do the one on Donut Operator you kept asking for, though.
What's a taco?
Oh yeah, he has some cool videos that people can
Oh
talk
yeah.
about.
I love Donut Operator.
Some good reactions on his
So
videos.
we'll do the Donut Operator / UFO. That way we know, because there's only so much you can say about Donut Operator. Then we'll go to UFOs. There's like a wealth of knowledge and shit on that.
Oh my!
And then
I should,
one day-
I should
and
email
then-
you a video of mine.
Oh, you should. And then we'll show another on the real Men in Black.
Oh god. No.
Oh please.
I was hoping you said something like the real Matrix.
That would have been awesome.
Kenny, did you see what Jarhead said?
What did he say? Jay, tell that bitch I heard that. Yeah, see, you're already in trouble. All right, I saw it during RPF Live, Devin Bay. Go flag on World Power Film. Okay.
Goodbye,
Goodbye,
Kenny, because I know that Mrs. J is gonna like rip you to shreds.
Me? I didn't say it. It was Taco.
Oh no, it was Kenny. That's it. It was totally
Oh, was it?
Kenny.
No. It
Kenny's
wasn't.
responsibility, his page, right?
It's
And
his
Jarhead-
panel. Yep.
And
Yeah.
Bingo.
Everything that Kenny is responsible for everything that comes out of my mouth. Just remember that.
Oh hell, we're
Jarhead.
all dead.
And Jarhead and Mrs. J, remember that come next Wednesday. That Taco called your wife Bigfoot. Remember that.
We're
For
all
next
dead.
Wednesday. Keep it in. See, I can play that game too. Okay, yeah, crazy. Thank you, Crazy Dude. I saw it. I'll look at it later because it's long and I don't want to search for it right now. It's 4 hours. Be fun. Oh no, that's the wrong video. Never mind. That's the wrong video.
My mouth always gets me in trouble.
Well, yeah.
The chief is in the
We're all in
house.
trouble.
What's up, Chief?
Doesn't help when I attract crazy either.
Like a magnet.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say goodnight, guys.
Good
All right,
night,
have a
Carl.
good night, Carl.
Good
night,
night,
Carl.
Lavender.
Good
Good
night,
night,
Good night,
Carl.
Carl.
Good night, Tim. Good night, Kevin. I will never, ever let you live that down.
There you go. Oh,
I
man.
almost died.
Hey,
That's
Kenny, just be glad you weren't referred to as Josh.
Oh, I know. I'd take offense then.
And I don't mean Taco
Good night.
Josh, obviously.
I was about to say, what the hell?
Hey, Kenny.
Well,
at
I
least
wouldn't
you
want to be Taco Josh
know
anytime
what's
soon
going
anyway.
on, right?
Not until after Jay gets a hold of
Because
me.
she got the first 2 letters right.
Is it good, Lavender?
My drink?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Mountain Dew
Which one?
Baja Blast.
Oh, yeah, Taco Bell.
Uh-huh.
That's it. You know how I know that? Because they're the only ones that have it.
That's right.
They got that on lock.
You called it, Kevin.
Lavender likes her tacos.
I
It's
do.
good. I'm gonna go get me some maybe tomorrow or Saturday. I'm gonna go to Taco Bell. You know what pissed me off? Taco Bell, they stopped selling my favorite thing from there, the grilled stuffed burritos. I like those, and they stopped fucking selling them.
I like the
understand
beef
that.
Mexi melts.
But now I just go and get to like the beef and bean burritos for like $1.30 now and get a few of those because they're cheap, but they're good. Throw some fire sauce on those bitches. Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Gotta have fire sauce. That's the only good sauce. All the other sauce is shitty.
Yeah,
I just
that's
like
good.
having
Taco's
soft
pretty good.
tacos with nacho cheese on them.
Oh, those are good. Oh, I do like their soft tacos. They are really good.
That's
Those
what
are
I
really
had.
good. God, you guys are making.
Shawhead B is on fire tonight in chat, by the way.
Equals wet fart. Oh, damn. They're not gonna let you live that one down.
I may or may not deserve it. I don't know.
Taco, your best bet would have been to have saved that for a roast, because then it probably would have been forgiven. But since it wasn't a roast, you fucked up.
Yeah, you fucked up.
Another good reason to install a bidet.
Yeah.
I did install one actually.
I think I got Sancho to install one too. We were talking about hemorrhoids on his panel one night. And that toilet paper is the leading cause of hemorrhoids.
Wow.
There's a lot going on in chat.
Kevin, I have to admit, you have a great panel going on here, Kevin.
I tell you, that thing goes to power wash though. I was like, ooh.
See, Taco is in trouble. She has a channel where she could start ripping you a new one on her new channel.
Mrs. J, please don't feed me to the goats.
I think the goats are the least of your worries.
I think so too. You got a Marine on your ass now.
Don't like goats.
No,
don't like Kevins.
worse. You have a
you got
Marine's wife.
a Marine and a Marine's wife. Only thing worse than that is wife. So yeah, luckily you don't have to worry about that. You just got a Marine to worry about. But still worry about it.
Oh, Rocky, you've missed so much.
Yeah, Rocky, you really have.
What's even worse is a Marine's wife, Bigfoot.
You are just digging yourself deeper.
Yeah, you can't help
digging
yourself, can
yourself
You know what?
deeper.
At this point, it just doesn't matter.
Just throw the shovel. Throw
Right?
the
Yeah.
shovel.
I've gotten the backhoe.
See, at this point, Taco, it's as soon as you get done digging freaking grave, you might as well just go ahead and lay inside it.
I would say just lay down.
Yeah, just lay down. So you just digging.
It was a nice life.
She'll come by and just kick the dirt in on top of you. So.
Right.
It was a nice life.
Right. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and offer the link in case they want to come on up here and give Taco a little shit. So there you guys go.
Don't eat me. Just down the road.
Roasting taco? No.
And
We
pigs
can
will
roast
eat
taco,
anything.
can we?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I think we can. What do you think, Kevin?
Oh, okay, Tim.
That's right, Chief.
You keep calling Kenny Kevin. I'm gonna start calling you Dingleberry.
That's okay, because I know that.
No. It's okay. It's okay. See, it's okay, guys. Let's be it. That I'm gonna be having his friend on one-on-one, and I'm gonna remember all this.
Good luck. You're still Kevin.
I did actually
watches the show. So
I did actually lock down a guest for the Taco Hut in 2 Thursdays from now.
Oh wow! Well, who's you gonna have?
I'm having a friend of mine from my board game days, Niels. He's a board game reviewer, and also he partially owns a board game company.
Oh wow!
And we're gonna go over gateway games, and we're gonna also take questions from the chat and give board game recommendations to people if they want, recommendations and all that type of stuff.
All right.
Gateway games, is that like
gateway drugs?
Mm-hmm.
It's like gateway drugs.
Okay, I was just checking.
That's how it's referred
A lot
to
of
in the
fun.
industry. It's the entry level. It's what gets you into the hobby.
Cool.
Yeah, my boys play tabletop games. The
All right.
Warhammer and the Star Wars one, Star Wars Armada.
Okay.
Yeah, they build all those models, Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. So they're into the big tabletop type games.
Yeah, with the maps and buildings and
Rulers and everything like that.
oh yeah, it's just freaking crazy.
It's an expensive hobby, that stuff.
Yes, it is. All their
I've done
little
this-
models.
I've done the Star Wars X-Wing, and that's pretty expensive on its own.
Yeah. And they sometimes they'll order the custom pieces where someone else builds them
Yeah.
and custom paints them for them and everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What's up, Josiah?
Hey,
Not
Josiah.
much. I went away
Hello,
for 3
Josiah.
hours. Hello, and I come back, and you're
And
still
we're
here.
still here.
And
Yeah.
Tim's still
Yeah, we didn't go
giggling.
anywhere.
The guy that was the zoo. Do you remember around what time the video was? It's like an hour and a half. I don't want to watch an hour and a half of Devin talking. I'm trying to figure out. Said.
Sounds like
Yeah.
we need to get Kevin a watch.
I want to second the motion. Rocky Childress, 736 in the chat, Kenny.
Rocky 736.
Rocky 736, sir.
Thanks for killing my joke, Asian. by the
Oh,
way.
thanks, Rocky. Awesome.
My apologies, Tim.
But to be fair, Tim took over this stream, so it might not. If it's not any good, you gotta blame him. But if it's good, I take complete credit.
I'd like
You
to say
got it,
hello to
Kevin.
Josiah as well.
Hello,
Kevin,
Adrian.
Kevin, I believe in you, Kevin.
Oh, look, Mrs. J's in there. Well, I'm watching this stream. I'm trying to find if I can just happen on to where it is.
That's how much
X-Ray's in there
he
too.
does. He watches the streams first before he shows them to us. Way to go, Kevin.
Where he called me a pedo because I'm really curious on that.
I don't know
See
how
what
someone could
content
watch
woman-
that much Devon.
I don't want to watch an hour and a half, which is why I'm looking for about a timestamp.
Oh, did you see that? Speaking of Omaha, he's
running for mayor. Yeah,
he's running for mayor. I put that in your. Did I put that in your chat, or I think I put that in?
Yeah, someone came up.
Golden.
Someone told us.
Yeah,
I did.
Oh, Taco's the one that told us he's running for mayor.
and you're not allowed to critique his videos anymore, or he'll flag you.
What did he say? Me specific? He just say everyone.
Well, yeah, no, he mentioned you.
Did he actually mention Kenny?
Yeah, you go back and watch a short video, and he mentions Kenny when he says about people using his. You have to get permission from him through an email. So there's proof.
But he didn't mention Kevin Klein.
No. He
Okay.
mentioned Kenny.
So you're okay, Kevin.
It's getting old, Tim. It's getting old.
Now I really want some of Baja Blast.
I'm sorry.
I do. I know it's good. I love that shit, man. That's so good.
I'm a Mountain Dew addict.
How can
Oh,
you
yeah.
drink all that caffeine? Mountain Dew has more caffeine than any other soda.
Uh-oh.
Doesn't bother me a bit.
Wow.
You
better
better
run.
run.
Quit
better
picking
run,
on the woman,
Taco.
Josiah. She's sick with COVID.
You
I
better
know.
run.
I asked her how she was earlier.
Yes, he did.
You better run, Taco.
Uh-oh.
Taco,
Oh, I like that.
I want to put a few things up here. Goats don't eat meat, but we do have a hog farm just down the road.
Yeah.
And hogs eat everything.
Understood. It's all in jest, sir. All in jest. It was fun. I love you guys.
We love you too, but
You don't
Mrs.
mess
J's
with a
coming
sick
in
woman.
for you now.
Yeah. You
Oh, I
don't-
know.
You don't mess with a sick woman, Taco. You don't mess
What's up,
with a
Mr.
sick
J?
woman.
I'll breed the hedge clippers.
No, you don't mess with the jarheads. That's
No,
a big
not at
no-no.
all.
That's a big no-no.
805, Devin is talking about RPF needs kill. Who the hell? Oh, Road Pirate Films. Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
But guys,
how are
yeah,
you guys
please-
doing, Jarhead and Mrs. J?
We're doing pretty good. Had a
That's
lot of
good.
wind today again. I think that's going east, so Asian better watch out.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
the only good thing about that, Mr. J, is that at least the leaves come off the trees.
True. Our leaves have been gone for about a month now.
Jeez, it feels like for us it's been 2 weeks. I'll blow the leaves, or the landscaper comes and blows the leaves, and then a couple hours later, more leaves.
It never ends.
And here in the city, here in New York, you get a citation from the city, a violation, if you don't properly clean up the leaves in front of your property.
Really?
Yeah, within a timely manner.
Yeah, a lot of cities are like that.
Yeah. So you have to blow the leaves, put them in garbage bags, so garbage can pick it up, that kind of stuff.
That's why I live in the country. It just mulch them up.
Exactly.
With a
I
mower.
envy you. I envy you.
We don't have real trees.
The
you
other
don't have
problem
real
is
trees?
the other problem is species of trees, like the maple trees, will drop their leaves first. Then about a month or a couple months later, oak leaves will fall.
That's absolutely correct. let alone the nuts. that fall off those trees.
Oh, you don't want to stand under an oak tree when it's dropping acorns.
I tell you,
Nope.
the squirrels love it here. They bury those damn acorns into my lawn, and they somehow dig them back up.
Yeah, they cache them for the winter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, my battery's dying, so I have to go.
Likely excuse. You're scared.
Sure.
Yep, Taco's running.
Sounds
I have
like
like
a-
I have like a
Taco.
10% left on my battery. I don't have one of those fancy Apollonia phones.
Oh, I was
You
just
can't-
gonna say
Oh,
that.
You can't plug it
Why
in.
didn't you say?
Taco, I was just gonna say that to you. Oh,
I
you
know.
took my- you stole my thunder.
Say it 3 times, she'll appear.
I know.
Kevin,
No, she won't appear where I'm at.
Witted.
What? I didn't hear you.
I said,
I said
Kevin,
she
you are just that quick-witted.
What? Well, I'm sorry. I was listening to the Devin Bay stream while you guys were talking.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Have a nice night, Kevin. Yeah.
Oh, you're leaving?
Oh, that's right. It's Thursday night. Masshole is on tonight, yay? Yes?
Yeah, that's for about 15 minutes.
Oh, I forgot about that. Forgot about that.
forget about
Yeah.
it.
So tomorrow, I'm probably gonna have 2 videos released tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a
You doing
video that I found. I don't know if you guys know this, but me and Patty talked a little bit, and he sent me some stuff. And I'm gonna release what he sent me tomorrow, in regards to the money he not he owes, I should say, but the money he promised. So I'll be releasing something on that tomorrow. So make sure you guys check that out. And it's short. I'm thinking I'm gonna read something else. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. I don't know. I feel I should. If I get lazy, I won't. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny.
Yeah.
You know, since my name is on, like, you know,
Josh got
the
his money.
chat and everything, could I just like to
Oh,
take a
that's
moment to
great.
thank everybody?
Thank you so much,
everybody.
Gary.
Oh, that's my, yeah, you know.
Yeah,
But then
you
he
Gary,
went,
especially Gary.
hey, pardon me. I'm talking to laugh. But
I
then,
I could not have done my stream without Gary. Thank you.
that's right. You're more than welcome.
You're absolutely right.
But then he went on to say about almost wording it into like a monthly thing, and I had to kind of cut him off and say, well, I can't every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenny,
Bye,
when's your next
Taco.
live?
Yeah. What say you, Kevin?
What?
Yeah.
About what?
When's your next live?
My next live.
Anything scheduled?
It's scheduled for Sunday. I don't know if I'll go live before then. I might not, just because I've been doing so many this weekend. I might just wait till Sunday to do the next. No, wait. Hold on. No.
When are we doing? When are we doing
I
the?
might have one more. I think I might
when are
have
we doing the Bigfoot one?
one more. Let me see. Sorry. Sunday. Yeah. So yeah, the next one scheduled is going to be the 22nd.
Is that the Bigfoot?
Yes, Bigfoot and other odd stuff. And I put in there, no Willow the Wisp will not appear. So yeah, so Sunday will be the next one that I know of, unless I wake up early in the morning and have a wild hair at my ass and want to have another cup of Joe. But if you're down to do another one of those over the weekend, Saturday maybe, Asian, I'd be willing to do that. Maybe we can even get Desert back on. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we'll fill it out. No promises.
Yeah. Whatever's clever.
Some people don't really like the morning panels, but you know, some do. Like Lavender complains, it's too early.
I do not. I don't
No, I
like
know,
your
just
late
kidding.
panels because I'm usually in bed.
That's true. That's a good point. You don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the late ones, but I don't know. I like some. It's good because the people who are not in the U.S. don't mind them.
Right.
Because you know they're not in the U.S., so it's not late for them. PAR is Police Accountability Report. So yeah, you guys, make sure you guys check out Massholes later. They're going to be on in probably about 10 minutes. I don't want to cut into their time because they're awesome. But you guys think, I'll give everyone a chance for a last minute. Asian, anything last minute, sir?
No, I just really enjoy your channel, bro. Keep up the great work, and I love you all.
Thank you very much, sir. I enjoy having you on. Your perspective on everything, you keep it classy, so that's great.
Thank you.
Tim, do I dare?
I'll keep it short.
All right, go for it.
I bet you will.
That'd be a first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Lavender with a barb.
Yeah, I got him good.
That's for the 17 Kevins.
Okay, you got me there. But Kenny, actually, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to have what was it, an hour and a half, 2 hours?
2 hours.
With Jules discussing, the different problems with jailing and stuff, and I'm just, really amazed and thankful for the support and the fact that people ask questions. I guess, did my job, didn't I?
Yep. It was a great time. All right, Lavender, anything last minute, man?
No, just thank you all for the well wishes, and I hope nobody else is sick. And if you are, I hope you get better soon. And it's always a pleasure to be on panel.
Gary.
Yeah, me. That's me. Okay, Kevin, Terry, whoever the hell you are. Will you do me a favor? Up in your upper right-hand corner where you have these your little picture and everything, would you change that because you're just smacking the shit out of that squirrel's head up there? And besides that, I just want to say, Tim, I think you did a fine job, except for, there are some, little mixing in what you can get changed and everything. And
thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, you're more than welcome. Let's see, who else? Who else is there? I can't see you. I just see me.
Tim, Asian, Lavender, Mr. J, Josiah here.
Okay. I was going to thank
Kevin.
everybody. And who?
And
Kevin.
Kevin.
I just seem, it's just a pleasure to be with y'all, and that's all I got to say.
All right. And better late than never, Josiah. What do you got to say, sir? Embrace us. Let us know the fine things that come from your mind, sir, even though you're late.
No, I want to thank you for last night. Last night was a great panel. I want to thank everybody for participating in the panel last night. I want to thank Tim for his panel, which I only had a short time to stay and watch. And I want to thank Asian for being Asian and always like the stable person who spouts all this wisdom. I want to wish Mrs. J health and Gary. It's always nice to see Gary wherever Gary is. You can always find Lavender and Mr. J. I didn't get a chance to talk to you, but it's nice, and I hope Mrs. J is doing well. So good night, everyone.
Thanks, Mr. J. Anything last minute, sir?
Just wanted to thank you, Kenny, for another good stream. Thank you, Josiah, for the compliments, and Mrs. J is doing pretty well. And I also want to give a shout out to Asian for awesome cool-headedness in this crazy environment.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I just want to thank everyone that's been on panel. This has really been fun. You guys really make this a lot easier to do, and especially the long streams, because, if it was just me, I'd probably do 10, 15 minutes, and that would be about it. But you guys You guys really make it easy to do like the long streams just with everyone's insights and their sense of humor and you know and their vertically challengedness and all the good stuff.
Oh, wow.
But thanks guys. Tim, again, I think you did great. And again, like everyone else, there are some things that you need to work on, but I think that you can do that in between the panels you go on by not interrupting people when they're talking. Because come on, I mean, I know because I'm sure you hear it when you go on other people's panels where they kind of go, "Well, Tim, hold on, we're gonna do this," and so just work on it. And I think once you do that, and then decide where you want to go through channel and anything you need help with channel wise, just let me know. I will be more than happy to help you get started, build an audience if I can. So
honestly, I appreciate that. And the funny thing is, during the conversation today with my friend Jules, it's like I intentionally held back and didn't say anything. And it's like I saw stuff in the comment section saying, "Why isn't Tim saying anything?" And it's like, I can't win.
Everyone was really surprised. Like there's people that came in and like Tim's hosting. Like I don't hear Tim yet. It's like they were really surprised that you weren't taking over, and you did. Like I said in the beginning, you did really good. But then when the panel, that's when you were back to the Tim we all know and love.
Well, Kenny, correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually called the panel up, and I was in the back room or backstage when you did it.
No, you were up there. I had to come up and call people up because you weren't.
And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to segue into like bringing questions, panelists up. Because I knew
not really. You were not really. You were just going with her, going the whole time. If I wouldn't have come up there and do that, you two would still be talking right here, right now. By yourself.
I don't know about that.
I think so.
Because I was actually trying to segue into the whole, hey, let's bring up some people. And then you came up.
It must not have been a very hard try.
That's what I was thinking. It didn't seem like it.
We had good time with Kenny. We had good time with Kenny. Okay.
No, it was a good time. Like I said, I thought you did.
It was great.
I thought you did great. But again, I think there are things you need to work on. And I think the issue was there wasn't a set time how long it was going to be. So maybe next time we'll.
Well, I mean, actually, it was supposed to be like what, 30 to 45 minutes?
Well, initially you told me you were gonna you told me you were gonna interview her for like a half hour, and then you wanted to bring people up. That was your initial thought. So I'm thinking, well, we're an hour in. It's like, okay, now I'll figure, because I didn't want to go all night like I normally do. I was like, no, I don't want to do that today. So I'm like, okay. So an hour in, I'm like, okay, he's not bringing this up, so I'm going to come, but I'm going to say, okay, we're bringing people in. And then you guys kept talking. It's like, fuck, they're not getting a chance to talk. And it's like, God, I needed to get in there again. I tried not to do it I tried not to do it to I was trying to interrupt your show, but at the same time, I had to keep it on track. And as host, that's what you have to do, and you'll get used to it. This is your first time. You did good for your first time. It's just going to take repetition, and keep at it, and you'll do fine.
And actually, I do like the name Tim Talk.
Oh, go with Tim Talk then. I want 50% of all royalty though.
That'll match up with the poster 8 or poster 7 t-shirts, right?
Yeah, that's right. 50% of that. God, Tim, I really enjoy doing business with you.
If I might say one little thing, I do hope you get better soon.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you. Me
Everyone
too.
Everyone keep Lavender in their prayers. Lavender is currently dealing with COVID-19. Also, please, guys, Sharon Moore also has COVID-19.
Yes.
So please keep Sharon in your prayers as well. She came in first time in like 3 weeks. The other night, and so she came in. Just make sure you guys keep her in your prayers, and please, everyone else, just stay safe out there. Please wear your mask.
Stay disinfected.
yes, disinfect.
Take care of yourself, Lab.
Especially during,
Thank you. I'm trying.
if we don't,
Please.
until after the holidays. Please, just take extra precautions when you're out with your family. You could be having the best time of your life, and then come find out you ended up getting something or whatever. Just be careful out there, and please join me Sunday if you would like. It should be different because we're touching a different subject. It's not auditors. It is what I like to call part of the auditor-free weekend. I'm gonna bring that back.
Yeah.
So
Ooh,
maybe it'll
yeah.
be on Saturdays more often, but Sunday. The reason it's on Sunday tonight is because I was like, fuck. I have a live stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm like, okay, Thursday, and like, fuck, I don't want to do on Saturday. Like, I want a couple of days in between, so that's why I switched it to Sunday. But it would
What
normally
time? What
2
time?
p.m. 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Sunday, we will have it'll be Bigfoot and other odd phenomenon. So if you know of any odd phenomenon, or if you have any Bigfoot stories, we could talk about drones. We could talk about whatever you guys want. Anything odd. It's going to be a lot of fun, hopefully. And hopefully you join me, except Tim. No, you can come, Tim.
Oh, God.
We'll just have a muzzle waiting for you.
Hi.
We'll have a muzzle waiting for you outside. That's okay. No, I'm kidding. But thanks everyone for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. And by the way, Lavender, go fucking watch Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, Game of Thrones. At least one episode, and let me know what you think about it. Just one episode.
And get
Well,
better. Lavender.
It'll be an hour.
Thank
Out of your
you.
life. It'll be an hour out of your life.
We'll see.
It's like, I don't want to. What does it not interest you? Does it sound like it'll be good or what? What is your issue?
No, it doesn't appeal to me.
Did you like Lord of the Rings?
The first couple.
Okay.
I don't
fair
think
enough.
I've
Well, then-
seen the last one.
Oh, okay. Why not? Just you didn't because it just doesn't interest you.
Lost interest. Just like the Harry
MHR is
Potters.
late. That's right. Yeah, we're getting ready to leave Desert because I was trying not to interfere with Maxwell. Luckily, even though we got taken off because of Tim, but I'm about to get off here now. Oh, Desert. We're gonna have to do that again. Me and Asian, we just can't stop singing your praises on that panel you were on that with us the other morning. That was a lot of fun. We got to do that again sometime. That shit was phenomenal. I think I'm going to take that section out and just put it as a video, just so people can take a look at it, because people aren't going to want to go through that whole fucking stream just to catch that little bit, So I think I'm going to pull it out. I think I'm also going to pull out the interview with the Resistance. Well, not the interview, but the talk with the Resistance too, and make it another video too, just so people don't have to go through the whole live stream. I think that'll be a good idea. So.
And the title can be, my suggestion, Kenny, would be, with breakdown comes breakthrough.
Oh yes, that is
Good title.
good. That is
Good title.
Thank you.
That is really good. All right, cool. It wasn't me. I was called by Jesuits.
What's up, Desert?
All right, guys. So make sure you guys check out the Maxwell later on, and just go on over there. Let them know. They do fantastic work. And Sunday, Bigfoot and other odd phenomena. And I'll have a new video for you guys tomorrow. Please make sure you guys check it out. And God bless you all, and please stay safe out there. All right, guys.
Peace
out.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.